Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Throw until you're out of sight and you're out of my mind. Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Floating as the river flows, easy as it goes to the ocean. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. Promise me, but you never try. Secrets in your eyes. You go and run, I'll hide. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. I don't ever wanna be crowned, just another prize. It breaks my heart, heart. Breaks my heart, 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 heart. Breaks my heart, 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 heart. Breaks my heart, heart, heart. Breaks my heart. Lost in the midnight blue shadows of the moon. Here with open arms for you, feeling something so new. Said with me you'd reach the sun. Oh, but we were so young. Love me till the summer's done, but keep me in your heart. So I hold on. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. Promise me, but you never try. Secrets in your eyes. You go and run, I'll hide. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. I don't ever wanna be crowned, just another prize. It breaks my heart. Colors of the sky, breaks my heart. All I see is colors of the sky, but all I see is colors of the sky. Colors of the sky, but all I see is colors of the sky. But all I see is colors of the sky. Colors of the sky, but all I see is colors of the sky. All I see is colors of the sky. Shook me to the ground now, and somehow I feel like you don't know me. Shook me to the ground now, I don't even know how. Brought me to a life that you never showed me. Coming from a locked up ghost of yourself, but you're coming from the light. There's more to you than you ever thought there was. Yeah, you're coming from the light.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. My name is Resorty, and to you, one and all, I say, hello, friends. Welcome. How's it going? Hope you're having a good one today. Hope things are going okay for you. Over here, a Saturday morning, a Wrexham morning, of course, wearing that fun red shirt. Actually, I appreciate the Wrexham logo is green, does not entirely black screen out. That's okay. Black screen? That's not the right word. Green screen. Become black because of the green screen. Having a bit of a chill morning, just kind of hanging out a little bit. Hopefully your day has gone well. Many of you, it's Friday evening. Hopefully the relaxation time is upon you. You can stretch a little bit. Hopefully you're able to, just not worry so much about the day's affairs and all the problems out there. Just focus on places where there are no problems, namely our city's Skylines playthrough. What do you mean we're hemorrhaging hundreds of thousands of dollars every month? Poppycock? No problems there at all. Do people still say poppycock? Like, that's a word when I say it, when I hear it, I think, okay, the only person who's ever said poppycock is some relatively elite British person. Now, maybe it's the case that people say ironically, but that usually a kind of like actual factual speaking. Do people ever say poppycock? I don't know.
I think it's a food product.
It is a food product. That's right. It's a kind of
Didn't it come in a tube?
Yeah, like popcorn maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hello, Knobs. How are you?
Hello. I'm wearing my uniform.
Look at us wearing both reddish, yellowish colors. You're standing on the mat, I think, is the difference.
I am not.
You're not. The camera is more.
The camera has moved.
It hasn't. I didn't mean to move it, but you feel like you're exposing too much yourself.
This is the lurker. Lurk noms him out when?
Oh, goodness. How's it going, Pepper? Mark's good seeing you, my friend. Team Ramrod, welcome. Yes, indeed. Staying up tonight for the good old Wrexham match against Gillingham. I thought it was called Gillingham, but Gillingham indeed. And unfortunately, due to time changes, it's now at midnight o'clock instead of merely 11 p.m. o'clock. So that's going to be a little difference for sure. Hello, Kari. Welcome back. Good seeing you again, friend. Hello to Silent. Hi, Jim. What is up? Who we got also? Blankster, hello. Poppycock is a perfectly cromulent word.
It is.
That's great.
It
I like
is.
that. What's the rest of that joke in The Simpsons? Something is a perfectly cromulent word.
Isn't it, embiggen?
Yes, embiggen is a perfectly cromulent word. Thank you for remembering that.
I only know that because of my friend who always says that.
Yeah, Simpson jokes all the way. Always very good.
I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons much when I was a kid.
I was not allowed to watch it at all. We watched one episode with the family, I believe, and the generalized response to it was they encourage rudeness of children to parents.
Yeah.
And so I may not watch it because rudeness is not okay.
And that's how I got my one detention in my life ever.
Oh, that's right.
We've had this discussion.
We have. Do you want to tell the old story again? I always enjoy hearing it.
Oh, well, it's just that I got sentenced to detention when I was like, I don't know, in 4th grade because I told the teacher to eat my shorts or something. I don't remember what I said. Maybe I said, that sucks.
I mean, you've told the story before as "eat my shorts," which is a Bart Simpson phrase.
Yeah, it was definitely something I learned from The Simpsons.
Yeah. And the part I love about this is you were just like little immigrant kid.
That's right.
Trying to fit in, trying
That's
to
right.
like reference American pop culture to an authority figure to show,
Yeah.
look, I belong here, and they sent you to detention.
Yeah.
And ever since that, you've been afraid of the law.
Yeah, even before then, I was afraid of the law.
Except, as I've mentioned before, here in Tokyo, one of us is always looking for ways to cross the street without having a green light, and the other of us waits politely in a good way.
Not always. I would say that now, ever since ever since I think we have talked, I think I've been like, yeah, maybe like, why am I so special? Why do I get to break the law? So most of the time, I'm a good kid, but sometimes if I'm late in a hurry, then I look both ways, and I see nothing for miles and miles, and I go, do, 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 do. But I do the little, I shuffle a little bit so that other people know that I know, like, I'm doing that, I'm sorry, this is embarrassing, run.
That's good. It's good that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are acknowledging the shameful thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Of course, that you're not stopping doing it. Hello to Ame. Welcome back, my friend. Good to have you here with us. Also, I noticed King of Autumn. I didn't give you a hello. Hello to you, friend, as well. Yeah. So, a couple stories since last we were together. Number one, I had a conversation with folks back home, and it was nice to make some reconnections. It was nice to catch up with a part of me that I don't often think about, a part of me that was a ways back, and to feel, to just feel a different kind of connection than usual. So that was good. That was good. Hello, Daigle. How's it going? Hello, Nada. I didn't finish the suit command yet. Oh no. I'm sorry, Daigle. There's a command that should be there. I got distracted during the intro, and okay, 1 second. No suits on Saturday. It is casual sports ball day instead. Resorty A. Very good. Now you don't even need to use the suits command. It's just the case. As many of you know, every single Saturday we have a long conversation. And when people come in about Resorty, why are you not wearing a suit and tie? Resorty, you've let us down again. So I made a command now, !suit. You're welcome to use that will explain why I'm dressed so casually on Daily Today.
I was thinking maybe you would like to wear a tie with that.
We tried that last week.
You did?
Yeah.
What did you learn?
I mean, what I suspected, which it looks absolutely, upsettingly horrible. That's a little strong.
I'm sorry for those of you who are trying to sleep.
Just yesterday, we had a conversation about the sleeping people and how when I intend to raid folks, share the community between our channel and someone else who's online after we go offline. Occasionally the volume levels and energy levels are so different that people will wake right up, and so instead they attempt to change to a VOD often. A VOD they know the standard Resorty all the way through, and no one ever comes by and screams. We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
It's like when I listen to my little podcasts, right? My little sleeping podcast is very nice. Sometimes I catch it at the end, where he thanks people, and he kind of pulls it off.
So if you speak that quietly, the microphone says, "You're not talking anymore. Stop talking."
Oh.
Yeah. So Nam did a very nice volume being quieter and quieter, and maybe that actually was effective then because you were talking.
And then I was not.
And then you were not. Good job. Good job.
Yeah. But then sometimes it will my little Spotify will switch to here's the next track you should be listening to, and then the intro music comes on, and it's a little bit jarring.
I see. Yeah. Maybe there's a way to make a playlist of only things that are pre-approved.
Well, I mean, I can also just yes, or I can just listen to all of my sleepy time podcast.
Oh, I see.
It's just, I don't know. Or sometimes I listen to some of these 2-hour-long interviews where they're going and they're talking about optimizing their life and optimizing their sleep, and they're brought to us by the Oura Ring and blah 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 blah, and that's nice. That's nice. That's a nice sleepy time podcast.
Maybe your subconscious will become the world's foremost expert on these topics.
Yes.
You won't be able to access it all, but it'll be in there somewhere.
Or I'll suddenly want to buy the Oura Ring and the Whoop band and all and Squarespace and
these people are not paying for advertising on my channel. What's happening here?
Sorry.
It's fine, of course. Hey, Daigle asked, am I feeling better? If you asked yesterday, the answer would be yes. If you asked today, the answer is no. So I've ended up changing medications yet again, and the loss of the last one has caused some problems. So last night was relatively rough. This morning I do feel a little better than last night, but I'm trying not to dwell on it, trying just to hang out and have a good time. But yeah, I do feel like I'm being a little slower than yesterday, and that's just kind of how it goes. To be entirely honest, I had a moment before going live where I said, I do not want to go live right now. And I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad we're hanging out. It'll be good for me, but it was a less enthusiastic go live than usual. And so that's just where things are. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Hey, hello, Hit People Guy. How's it going? Hit People Guy, I know you took an airplane flight yesterday.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you you floated in to Seattle of all places.
Oh, a crossword puzzle answer. A frequent crossword
Yes,
puzzle answer.
the airport that services that area is SeaTac. SeaTac. I don't know why. A lot of very nice little useful letters, I suppose. So yeah. Hopefully the flight went well. HPG, I know you're there for a few days. I'm so glad you can hang out with us. I know often when people hit the road, they gotta miss stream for a while, and that's fine. I hope they're having a good time. I feel so bad. One of our regular viewers has gone to Asia, and unfortunately, being in Asia, I'm streaming at work time, and so instead of getting the normal, wind down, cool down time, instead this viewer has to go and work and then maybe watch the VOD perhaps. If so, hello, I hope you're having a good time.
Or maybe it's on their phone and they have the headphones in while they're like pretending to work.
Gosh, I hope not. I'd hate to be the reason that someone loses their job.
Maybe they're not going to lose their job. Maybe they're so highly productive it's all right.
It's very impressive. Very impressive. Slivers is good seeing you. Slivers is a direct hi to Noms also.
Yes,
you're waving? That's good. Here, I can wave also. Yeah, very good, very good. I guess two things to talk about from yesterday. Two things come to mind in a big way. Number one, class did not go super well, and it was my first time teaching this text, and so anytime I teach a new text, I always have a little bit of uncertainty about how to teach it and what the best way is to start the conversation. And so I know and believe that next time out it'll go better. That's fine. But man, like I said yesterday or day before, the students just don't want to dream with me. They do not want to imagine for a moment what would it be if we could just try something slightly different. And not big stuff at all, just really small, really small projects that make better communities. And I don't know if they're scared of the vulnerability of being open to other people. I don't know if they're worried about taking advantage of or whatever else. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because I just came up with two thoughts about this. Thought one. They like a lot of fantasy literature and a lot of fantasy things, right?
Anime.
And they like anime. They like Harry Potter. They like playing the video games and fantasy worlds. So, and then two, a lot of the fantasy stories lately, though, have been rather dystopian.
Sure.
So I realize that's one difference between our classes is I picked a modern text, but it was pretty dystopian.
That's right. Yeah, you taught
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Margaret Atwood's great book about Christian fascism taking over the U.S. and what it means for women and so on. It's a great book, of course.
And it wasn't fantasy, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty realistic, alternate future, alternate history kind of thing. Hey, Lesser, good having you here. I don't know that person you're mentioning. I hesitate to read out names in chat. Someone says, do you know this person, or would you say hi to this person? Because inevitably it's me saying a dirty word. So
it's like the Simpsons joke where they call the bar. Bart calls the bar and he asks for people.
Yeah,
right?
and then Mo, the bartender, calls out, hey, anybody here with this dirty joke name?
Ivana Tinkle?
Exactly. Calls out 2 or 3 times and says, hey, wait a minute, kid. And he picks up the phone and Bart cackles wildly. Did you ever have a desire to make a prank call?
No.
Yeah, nor did I. I was afraid of
I was
the telephone
afraid too.
all the way through. No, so I wasn't actually afraid of being caught or anything, though I probably should have been. It was entirely I was afraid of the telephone. And so the idea of intentionally using the telephone just didn't come to mind for me at that time.
Because then star 69 came around.
Oh, that's right. And you can see who called you. And you can call them right back. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly, Jim. Do you know Amanda Hug and Kiss? Or someone last name Hug and Kiss, first name Amanda? Anyone here Amanda Hug and Kiss? A man to hug and kiss. Right, it's great fun. So very good, very good. Yeah, so that's disappointing. I wonder if bad class did lead to a little bit of mental instability yesterday. It's kind of working out, but I don't think so. I've definitely had very, very bad classes before, and I'm able to say, okay, it went poorly this time for these few reasons. Yesterday, while talking to Noms about it, I said, maybe from this point forward, I should just lecture in class. Or you know what? Maybe I should quit. And this for me is the sign.
I was going to say, you have 2 classes, and one of them went well yesterday, and the other one didn't.
It's true. One class went very well, the other one didn't. Unfortunately, I had a colleague observe me in the second one, and that was embarrassing, I guess, but that didn't matter to me quite as much. But yeah. I tend not to like catastrophize in the way that I have been recently, and that's unfortunate. I know what I'm doing. I know I shouldn't do it. I know it's not helpful, etc. But here we are. All right, that's story number 1. Story number 2. Last night there was a big event on campus, an event in which the students put on a special program, I guess. Yeah, they do this once.
It's like a talent show.
I mean, the word talent show, I think, might conjure the wrong environment, but there is some similarity to it. It starts as primarily a place for students to go up and talk about and argue about and think about one thing important to them. I think they're given like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 minutes to give a little talk about whatever kind of thing they want to. And for a lot of students, this is very, very nerve-wracking, very scary.
Sometimes their English is not their first language.
Yeah, sometimes they're working in a language that's not where they started, and that's really, really impressive.
That's crazy. I can't imagine giving a talk in another language.
Well, could you give a talk in Japanese?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Like a pretty rudimentary one, like let's make a peanut butter sandwich.
Oh, it sounds delicious. I need to learn how to do that.
I could do that talk.
Is part of it cutting off the crust or no?
No, that's wasteful. Unless you're going to give it to Fritz.
Yes.
Today is all about the hand gesture.
That's good. I mean, I'm actually gesturing less than usual, I noticed, so I appreciate that you're bringing the gestures in a big way. As for you, as part of peanut butter sandwich making, cutting the sandwich in half at the end.
Of course.
And which direction?
Diagonally.
Diagonally, yeah. I don't ever cut my sandwiches in half. If making one for Noms, I try very hard to remember to cut it on diagonal, but no, I just use my giant chompers to... Yeah.
I think it's because when I was a child, I used to get it cut vertically. Like that's how my mother would do it. She would cut it vertically. And then I discovered diagonal cutting, and I was like, oh, this is so cool.
Hey Flash, how's it going, my friend? Welcome back. So what's cool about it?
Well, I don't know. I just like that it's different.
Huh.
Right? Because, I was a kid and I was like, wow, I gotta do something different from my mother. But then I also like that it creates tiny bites off the sides.
Oh,
it gives you an easy in.
Yeah, because those corners are possibly just tiny little bites that opposed to having to go all the way in.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, I understand part of the story is a kind of novelty. Oh, it's different, it's new, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
How about an asymmetrical cut?
No.
Like, what about like drawing a circle and cutting out the very middle of it, possibly?
Oh, like an Uncrustable?
Possibly.
Uncrustables are tasty.
Yeah, but would you want that to happen on your sandwich, and then you have to eat the outside part also because
No, that's terrible.
Or how about if like you just took curves all the way along and through?
It might be okay. It just sounds like a lot of work. For me, when you first said asymmetrical, what I thought was maybe like the diagonal just is shifted farther. And then I thought that's terrible because this other piece is going to be so big and so hard to get my chompers into.
Okay.
Because I have a little chomper case.
It's true. Your mouth is relatively small, which is why I occasionally finish my sandwiches in like 5 bites, and you have, I don't know, 20 or 30 tiny little bites. And yeah, there's something to be said. Who is that guy? The Buddhist monk,
Thich Nhat Hanh?
Thank you, Thich Nhat Hanh, right? He has that book on how to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, part of it is about being intentional and mindful and not just throwing it all down the gob.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for whatever reason, I have just always thrown it all the way down the gob. In my childhood home, there wasn't like competition for food. I know some families that have a whole bunch of kids, right, will have to, defend their plates against their brothers and sisters and hurry up fast as they can. It wasn't the case for me, so I don't know why I eat so thoughtlessly unless I'm being intentional about it. But I almost always have. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I enjoy that about going out to eat here, that especially in like places that are kind of hip restaurants, where people are there to have an experience. People eat incredibly slowly, and they're like, they take a bite, and then they like set down their utensil and they chew it and they think about it.
Sometimes they get a little book out
they
and
get a
read
little
for a
book out.
while, and then time for another bite. I put the book away, have a bit of sip of water, or I guess oolong tea often, or some other kind of cha, and then one other bite, and then back to the book.
Yeah, they seem like they're really enjoying their meal, which is nice.
Yeah, and the word meal as opposed to food.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the whole experience
Yeah.
of the thing. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think I wasn't taught necessarily to be thoughtful or mindful when I ate, but I was, like, I think I was taught not to eat fast, or at least it wasn't a priority. Eating fast was not a priority in my house.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. You tend to get triggered by slow eaters, probably because of jealousy. Yeah, Noms is at times a very slow eater.
Yes, and in the States, I'm incredibly slow.
Yeah,
and
less
here,
so.
I'm medium to medium fast.
Yeah. Now, with that
Oh,
said,
yeah.
there have been times even here that because of your role at the school, at big fancy gatherings, people want to ask you questions, they get your input on this and that. And I always notice that you just can't eat because you're holding court in some way.
Or you've walked away from your plate.
Well, there's that too.
I've done that too.
Yeah, but even times when you're at the table, I'm pretty sure that you just want to take a bite sometimes. It's all occasionally like offer a comment to give you cover to take a bite of food. But yeah, it's a kind of pressure, especially to be a very slow eater. Because I know the provost at 2 schools ago would not eat at dinners.
Yeah.
He would eat just beforehand a little bit, and then quite a bit more afterwards.
Yeah.
And part of it was just saying the role I have here is not as one more consumer, but instead as a someone who needs to offer thoughts and so on.
Yeah.
But then you're saying no to the delicious food and saying yes to the peanut butter sandwich.
My current boss, and if he's running a meeting, then he doesn't even open the meeting. Right?
Yeah,
If it's
yeah.
like a bento lunch or something, he doesn't open it and he'll just grab it and get it later.
Yeah.
Eat it later. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it just comes with the territory, but I think especially in admin roles, you are treated to a lot of meals, so I think it's okay to skip some because otherwise, I think it's like being the president, right?
Yeah.
It's not like being the president, but like
Do you mean of the U.S.?
of the U.S. Like
Yeah.
there's so many ceremonial meals that if you actually ate what you're supposed to at all those ceremonial meals as the president, like it would just be a lot of food.
Yeah, I wonder how that is handled in Japanese contexts, because you said like these ceremonial meals, which makes you think of ritual, which makes you think you can't step outside the ritual, right? The person who is leading it is leading it, and so I don't know. I don't know if there's a case that because of like the priesthood role in that kind of ritual, you're allowed to step out somewhat. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I need you to get a job at a Japanese institutions that goes to the fanciest high-level meetings so that I'm able to understand these things. I can only do anthropology secondhand here.
Yeah. I'm guessing that if it's like a school, like speaking from a higher education context, I'm guessing if it's like a school where your school is also doing the catering, you can request a different meal for you
Sure.
or a smaller portion size so that you're still eating, but it's much smaller.
Makes
like,
sense.
I think my old president, when she was trying to eat healthier, like, this is terrible, it's stereotyping, but all of the men would be like, I need my meat.
Yeah.
And she was trying to eat healthier, so she would just order a salad for her, but to make sure to give people their steak that they wanted.
I see.
So.
Yeah, Midwestern men, especially in that smaller town, were of a mind that I need a giant truck, and I need meat with literally every meal. If I'm not inhaling bacon, it's a bad day.
Yeah, I mean, people actually complained, right? There was a lunch where, I don't know, like wraps and soup or something were served, and then like at the next meeting, some of the men there complained about like the food. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's tasty salad though, right?
Yeah, it was good stuff, but they were like, there wasn't enough meat in there.
Yeah, that's how it
Really?
goes. Contraption, good seeing you, my friend. Also, everybody who's an ad watcher, just so you know, an ad break's coming in just a little bit. We're just gonna
Oh dear.
We'll talk through it for right now, but we'll get some games at some point.
Pumpkin
maybe,
ads.
but see you in about 3 minutes. Don't you worry. Nothing important will happen. Oh yeah, back to that really important story. So that's over to me. All right, so story number 2. We began talking about already. So once a semester, the students put on this event that is partially about people being able to come and talk and offer positions, which is, I think, really interesting, and talk about something they care about. And so a lot of the topics are, kind of the standard young people at university topics, like, why are you at college? Not just to study, but to make connections and find friends and go do it, try to try. And some of it is about beauty standards and like how do you think about beauty standards and all these kind of topics that I've heard before, but they're new to the students and they're excited for them, and that's great. Also at these talks, to keep the crowd engaged so they don't all leave, I suppose, every few talks there's then a small break for a band or a dancer. Or
a singer
or a dance group, and yeah. So yesterday, someone special was invited to give the keynote, the opening speech, the one that set the tone for what followed, and that little someone was good old Noms, of course. Yeah, and I think it was really cool to see you giving your talk. It was really cool to see the students responding to the stuff you did. You did not do a standard topic in some measure. And
What's a standard topic?
I mean, I think often the keynote speaker, if they're an administrator of the school, will just sort of rah-rah the school and rah-rah the students, as opposed to engaging in what I would call scholarly engagement. What I would call a challenging view that is grounded in something more than just, hey, our school's the best school. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think students are bored by that because they've heard it and they know how it goes.
I agree. Yeah. And so, I don't like the music, and it's not because I dislike the style of the music. Like, it's lots of stuff that I find interesting and valuable. Someone sang a Smith song, cool. But it's just so unbelievably loud in there. So unbelievably loud. And my little old man ears are like, kids these days. And I don't know. I don't know. I suspect that as one gets older, one's ears become more sensitive. And it just seems like annoyingly loud to the point where I'm like, this is a university. There are important intellectual matters being handled here. and that confuses me a little bit, which is fine. Like, obviously, the event is not for me in any sense, though I'm glad to go and see my students engage with this and that and the other thing. And then past that, yeah.
I would like to say something about the
would enjoy
music
that.
part.
Yep.
Yeah, during the music portion, the band stayed the same, and it had rotating singers.
Yeah, that's cool.
So essentially, the band served as an orchestra pit or a karaoke track, right? I kind of feel bad for them. I'm sure they enjoy it, but at the same time, I kind of feel bad because they have these singers come up and they're like, "I want to sing this song," and then they have to learn that song, right? So they're like an accompaniment band. But so the band stayed on, and then each of the singers switched out. But I didn't tell you about this yesterday. Like, the singers were kind of seated near where I was sitting, so they would go up, and then they would come back, and they would say, "Oh, how was that? I was so nervous.
That's funny.
And yeah, they all did great, right? And there was one, I don't know if you remember. I think she was the last singer. She came back and like her performance was like very confident and like it was very good. And then she came down. She said, "I was so nervous. I'm shaking." And that was like, it was really interesting for me to see that contrast, just because like her performance was great, right? But so I think seeing kind of the backstage a little bit was like very informative. Yeah,
that's right. And I shouldn't have yeah there. I felt dismissed. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. What I meant to say though is I think that you said previously that the real value for you is seeing the students as fuller people there. And part of that is that nervousness and that uncertainty about, gosh, how I did, how did I do rather. I think most people, when they start being speakers, when they start speaking from the front of a room to a crowd of, I don't know, 300 people, something like that, 200 people, a lot of people. It's hard. It's hard. Pardon me for just 1 second. We'll get back to story time, but I've been assaulted in chat. Someone has said, you were wearing a Manchester United shirt. And so here comes my cute little chest. Okay, I gotta keep going in. I should just have an auto zoom. Is that the crest of Manchester United upon my breast? Is this the official sponsor of Manchester United? No, it's United Airlines. And this is
I see. They saw the United.
Bumpa 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 bada dunta jana bumpa bada bumpa bada bumpa bada da bum 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 bum.
Oh no, someone's saying, is it Arsenal?
This is the insignia of a little Welsh team called Wrexham AFC.
I think you pronounced that wrong.
What do you mean?
It's Warwrexham. Warwrexham.
There's a W at the beginning there. It is indeed Warwrexham Football Club. Now, if you want to say I'm a bandwagoner who got interested in it because I played full manager and someone said, hey Resorty, how do you know about Ryan Reynolds and the football team? I said, no, what is Deadpool doing with football? And I went and looked into it.
And the other guy.
Rob McElhenney, yes.
McElhenney,
something like that. It's McElhenney, I believe, yeah. And so I went and looked into it and said, oh wow, there's a documentary about this football team. Let me just watch it and see more behind the scenes stuff about how a football club is managed and operated and the finances and the little niggling frustrations and the players' lives, etc., etc.
And they keep having this guy who looks different in every episode. Why?
I think because he is in some measure the narrator. Like, he is often the one used for, and here's what happened then that would lead into the conversation of what they want to talk about. He's not the official narrator, but he's kind of the narrative voice often.
But why does he own so many pairs of glasses and contacts? And why does he have so many different hairstyles and hair lengths?
So I think it's because they shoot his material whenever he's around and whenever they think of, oh, we need this, as opposed to doing it all at once together. So don't worry, this is not Manchester United, this is Wrexham Football Club. And so, yeah, I mean, I watched the documentary. I said, oh, what a cool team. How cool to not just, like, root for a team in the abstract, but to a little bit more understand the players and the environment and so on. So that's.
But then you got hooked, I think.
Yeah, I think I was looking for something that seemed worthy of spending all of one's life on.
Something is happening.
Something is happening indeed. Blasphemy, thank you very much indeed for the generous gift sub to a directed person, right, to Flask. Flask enjoyed the emotes, enjoy the free crossword puzzles in a bit here. And thank you for that generosity, Blasphemy, very, very, very much indeed. Super kind to you.
I would like to comment on United Airlines, though.
Sure. Do you mind if I fill my water glass while you're doing that?
Oh, boy.
You'll be fine.
Oh, no.
This will be just like 30 seconds, don't you worry.
Oh, okay.
You're in charge here.
The commentary that I would like to offer on United Airlines is related to what Blasphemy 101 has said about United Airlines. We are united in giving you the worst service possible. Which is to say, every time, it's not just United, I would say every time I've flown through O'Hare on United, it's always awful. Things are such delays, such gate changes, such things not happening on time, and then like it's the hurry up and wait. So I gotta hurry and get to the gate, which has changed, and then I get there and then it's delayed, and then just so every time I've flown United through O'Hare, I've had bad luck. Yeah,
I'm sorry to say, from this point forward, we'll be flying no one but United Airlines. This because when they ask, like, oh, how was our service? Why'd you fly, etc., I can say, in order to support Wrexham United, and that will cause them to give more money to Wrexham United, and that will let the wage bill be higher, and we'll be able to pay our best players enough money to keep them around. So, sorry, sweetie. No,
you can fly United, and I'll fly the Japanese airline with the very, very wonderful crew and such lovely meals, and they bring you Haagen-Dazs unless they think you're vegetarian, when they don't give you Haagen-Dazs and give you cut fruit instead, because vegetarian does not mean that you can't eat dairy. But
vegetarian on the airline though is vegan also,
Yeah,
so they have one thing to share between the two.
Yeah.
And also of course they bring you a hot towel,
Yeah,
so you can like clean your hands both before and after. And this is at all levels. It's not just in the fancy business or first class.
You're in economy.
Yeah, economy way in the back. They still give you the Japanese experience.
Yeah. We flew Japan Airlines? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Japan Airlines are one so far, and yeah, they're just the nicest, most customer service focused people, and it really is just Japanese culture in the sky, which is kind of cool.
Now you do end up having a bento that is full of lots of mushrooms and some other things that maybe are not your favorite vegetables.
Yeah. I mean, definitely they are Japanese intended, because the majority of people who fly JAL are Japanese, and so the slimy factor is occasionally kind of high, and I don't do super well with slimy foods, and that's just how it goes. I mean, I'll still choke them down. But it really is choke them down. Pepper, you work with jet turbines, so you don't fly at all. Yeah, I guess you see like tolerances and the point at which it might break, etc. And yeah, I mean, I think it's slightly problematic for me never to fly again. I guess I could take a boat. I have at times
A slow boat to Japan.
You're absolutely right. At times I have thought, what would it be to go on one of those big cargo ships? Because often many of them have 4 or 5, what are they called? Steerage, I believe? Something like that, where you're able to come along and have dinner with the captain and so on.
Sounds like a good book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it does take months and months and months to get between the U.S. and China, and Japan rather, because they often make many stops and it's slow going. But it could be a really amazing thing to do at some point.
Yeah, and the book is titled "A Slow Boat to China."
I don't want to go to China, but maybe. There are cruises from the U.S. to Japan. See, I don't want to take cruises. I read David Foster Wallace's a supposedly fun thing I'll never do again, about his experience on cruise ships, and I've read so much about the workers' experience on cruise ships and how it's genuinely terrible.
Isn't there like a what do you call it? A reality show?
Oh, is there?
It's called like Under Decks, Below Decks, or something. Maybe I haven't seen it. I thought it was a reality show, but maybe it's a scripted show.
Yeah. Hey, General Madden. Greetings from Tokyo. Good seeing you, my friend. Guten Tag, Abend. What day is it?
It's probably after.
Nacht. It's quite late. It's Nacht. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good seeing you.
Asiana, is that the one out of Singapore?
Airline, you mean?
Yeah. Blasphemy's talking about.
This is me offering contextualization for.
If it's that one, I've heard it's quite good.
Yeah. Maybe we'll try at some point. The less you read, the more you can enjoy life. Yeah, unfortunately, that's just not how I approach the world. I just want to know stuff, and I realize that ignorance is bliss, as the old phrase has it, and I just can't pull it off. I can't pull it off. Yeah, and that's a big topic, of course, but
yeah. It's that what is it, Chuck Klosterman one, where it's like, if you could be a little bit more attractive but a little bit dumber, like how many times would you do that, or something like that? Yeah.
I mean, there have been times in my life where I said I would make that trade 100,000 times. Where I would absolutely just want to be more attractive. This is back in like high school, certainly, or times I'd be like, oh, I'm so lonely. Now, at that point, I was also unwilling to do the things that would make me more attractive. I was
like leaving the house,
like showering or shaving. It was a pretty bleak period. But yeah, it definitely is the case that if I did it the other direction, I would. Or, honestly, at this point, I'm probably happy with the balance, just because this is very standard me talk. This is what I do at restaurants, because I know what this life is, and I'm absolutely terrified that if I were to, increase my intelligence or my attractiveness or whatever, it would destabilize what I have going right now. So that's why I order the exact same food at the restaurant every single time. So, how about you? Oh, actually, real quick.
General Madden.
Yeah, Oh, please, you gotta do today.
Oh, General Madden. Thank you for subscribing with
Twitch
with Twitch
Prime.
Prime. It's the one where you have to push the button every month, which means that you have to remember and put in the effort. Thank you for doing that.
That's very kind of you. Thank you for the
yeah, it's hard.
Which part?
To remember to push the button.
Oh, that's true. It's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, yeah, I appreciate that you did it on our channel, because you could have done it on any channel, but thanks for picking us for sure.
Yeah. General Madden is in Deutschland right now,
That's
right?
correct. Would you like to offer a special German greeting? Or German, just one sentence. Or
Hello.
like three sentences.
Willkommen nach Deutschland.
One more sentence.
Are
we having fun today?
Magst du Spaß?
I realize it's been a while since we've spoken any German.
And so my voice has gotten quieter and quieter because I'm not quite sure about the German. I've always wanted to go to Germany. I have not been to Germany, and I'm the one who learned German.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You learned German in part because your best friend is German.
Oh, no. I learned German before that.
Oh, did you? Okay. Did you think you improved in it because your best friend is German?
Or... Oh, natürlich. As you would say.
Hi. Yeah, unfortunately, I said hi in response to... I should have responded in German. Mistakes made.
Well, when I try to speak Spanish, it comes out in German.
Oh, yeah, when I try to speak Japanese, I'm not very careful, it comes out in Spanish, which is why I have ordered at a Japanese, or at an Indian restaurant, in Spanish, and the worker's been very confused, like, wait, sorry, wrong language.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I learned it as my research tool.
Oh, okay.
Right,
okay.
I knew that this is
I thought you learned
Nom.
French for that.
Oh no, this is little Noms in college being like, I want to go to graduate school. How do I increase my chances of getting into graduate school? And I heard that having a foreign language research tool under your belt is good. And so my junior year, was it after my junior year or before my junior year, I took intensive German over the summer. I took a year of German.
That's right.
In one summer, which was not too bad because I already had Latin and Greek. And then I took German after that when I got back to my regular college, and then I took some in graduate school. But I took it like the normal way, which is doing all 4 skills instead of doing the research tool. So
research tool is just reading.
Just reading, yeah.
Just reading, yeah.
So as a result of that, I am supposed to be able to know how to speak it and hear it. And and because my friend is German, I got a chance to use it because I was in a foreign language department as well.
Cool.
And now I don't really get many chances to use it, which is a shame because the German speakers I know probably would prefer to speak Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we've talked about doing before is getting you over to the Goethe Institute.
Yeah.
Germany, the German Language Association, whatever, has these little branches all around the world to promote German culture and German language and so on. The Don Quixote League apparently is what it is for Spanish.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure. No, it's Cervantes.
Yeah.
It's Cervantes?
No.
Well, never mind.
I got an
wrong.
email from them here, and so
We've walked past their offices also.
Yeah.
Whichever
Not
way.
here. Maybe in a different country. Oh, no, here. Maybe here.
I have no idea where. Hey, reality's overrated. Thank you for the resubscription, friend. You're getting close to a year. That's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. I have like a vague sense of how long people have been in the channel. And I think anyone who's joined us since the last Stream Crisis, which is now, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I still feel like this is a new viewer. But the new viewers are becoming around for a very, very long time. So, yeah, that's how it goes. I want to talk about your speech, though, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to understand the German sentence, but I don't have enough vocabulary.
Miss, you're very new. That's not true. You've been around for, 6 years, 5 years. Absolutely ridiculous. What was I going to say? Hey, Phil, good seeing you, my friend. What did I say?
Remember when?
Yeah, so along with the student activities at this thing, and the dancing is, as Nam says, so much gyrating, and it is...
There's definitely twerking.
definitely twerking, and I feel very upset at watching it because one of like the key elements of how to be a professor is students are asexual, right? We do not think about part of our lives, like we separate the two, and then we can talk about romantic love and sexual affection and so on, but never specify to a student, this is how I deal with these things. That they're completely off limits, obviously we're married, etc. But yeah, it's very important to me that I do not see them twerking.
But I think I was trying to think about this yesterday too, while I was watching all of this, but it's also part of a choreographed dance. So I wondered to how many of them it's like a dance move, and it happens to be kind of a sexually suggestive dance move, but whether they just think of it as this move, then this move, then this move, then this move.
That's unfortunate. So, I hope we're reflective of what we do in the world. I hope we're reflective of our bodies and such. But yeah, I mean, that's the fundamental issue. As a good, proud American of Puritan upbringing, I am fundamentally uncomfortable with bodies. And so I prefer to think of my students as disembodied minds, at least in the classroom, even though I know we need bodies to live in the world, etc. Yeah, it's just... Anyway, I left early yesterday because it was just a bit much, and I was not doing terribly well. But I stayed for Nam's talk, of course. And first thing to say, before Nam even gets on stage, at these events they serve pizza as an inducement to get people to show up. And
it's kind of sad that pizza, like all you have to do is to advertise pizza and people come to things.
Yeah, and so
like you should have higher expectations.
Sure. I mean, I like that story very, very much, but at the same time, I prefer not to go down that path right now.
Because I'm like, what? You can buy a slice of pizza for what, 200, 300 yen?
Yeah,
come on.
But I think free food's always a bit of a draw. But with that said, the first people who show up to the talk, they're told explicitly, if you take the pizza, please stay for the event. And many of them do, right? Many are brought in for the pizza. But the later students, who are at the very back of the room, are there only for the pizza. And unfortunately, while they're having their pizza, they stand around in groups, in masses, in clots.
They have friends.
They have friends, and they're only there for the pizza. And so they talk all the way through the event. And so Nam gets up on stage, and I turn around to them and I say, please, that's someone important to me. Please stop talking. And they did for a brief moment and then got right back to it again. And I was annoyed by that. And I was really, quite surprised that the event organizers didn't do something. Maybe just before talking started, like go back there and say, hey folks, it'd be really nice if you'd take the conversations outside. It'd be really nice if you'd just let us enjoy the speaker for right now. We're here for that. But there was no effort beforehand on the part of the organizers. Now that said, the organizers are indeed students.
They're students, yeah.
But I think part of taking a responsibility for running events is trying to make the event go better than it would if it's just chaos.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard this complaint, let's say, at other events too. Like when the theater class gets up and does like their end of semester like acting presentations. There's like always just groups in the back of the room, just chit-chatting and stuff.
Yeah, these are college-age students. Yeah, there's two things to say, I guess. One is I'm always amazed the way in which college-age students forget about what we're all trying to do here sometimes once they get out of the classroom. And that makes sense, right? They're young, they're having a good time. They just kind of forget sometimes the best way to be, given that we're having speeches and so on. And that's definitely too bad. Because again, I wanted to hear my wife's talk. I was sitting towards the back of the room, so I could leave early if I wanted to. And yeah, it was just not a nice moment. Now, I know that some of the people who put on the talk are Japanese. I know there are people who like really struggle with confrontation. That said, one of the organizers is one of my students, and she is American through and through, and she is very politically active from the great state of Vermont. And I've seen her like call out other students in my classes. I've seen her like directly engage with a student and say like, not only is your idea mistaken, it's also dangerous, and here's why, right? That kind of thing. And so I wish she would have done a little bit better to, yeah.
In her defense, I don't know how much she would have known it was happening. I heard, like, even before my talk, I could hear hubbub in the back of the room.
Yeah.
But it's this is why I compared it to the mythology lecture hall.
Yeah.
Where I can tell there's some hubbub happening, but in the front, it's not a problem. So
Yeah.
she may not have, like, realized there was an issue.
It's possible. That said, she was walking back and forth and back and front consistently. Check sound levels, which were pretty bad in the back also. Welcome to Resorty Complaints time. So, yeah, I was just a little surprised by it. In part because if you're going to put the rows of chairs 25, 30 back, your understanding is, I think, that people should be able to enjoy the event all the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the important part, Noms gave a talk.
Well,
and,
before we get to that, I will say that we have now hired a sound specialist who was there last night.
Yes.
Right? There were 2 people who were employees who were there last night to do the tech. So it might be okay to say, hello, new sound specialist guy. Sound in the back is not that great. Now,
well, it just died.
Yeah.
It died 2 or 3 times. There were speakers going, and there was nothing.
There were times where it died during somebody's song, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was off for half of your speech also.
Yeah.
And so I had to, like, lean in as much as possible and do a little lip reading and so on from way, way back. But, yeah.
My understanding is that he wants to redo that entire room, the new sound specialist, because
Cool.
he probably came in and was like, no. But, So
he seems very sassy. This new fellow.
Yeah, he's not at all.
He's not at all. No.
I've met him all of once, and I think he's quite nice.
Absolutely right. This event, non-video talk, the first talk at the gate, and do you want to talk about it all, or should I?
You're welcome to talk about it.
Do you not feel like talking about it at all, or?
We can talk about it. I just don't want to talk about it again after I've talked about it all week.
Yeah, so Noms has been rehearsing this thing all week long because
it has to be.
It has to be memorized. You're not supposed to get up there and read a paper, certainly. And so Noms had a cue card or 2, just with key phrases and sentences, and then kind of just winged it, which was cool to see. Now, of course, the winging it is after repeating it aloud twice that day, I believe, and all that kind of stuff. It was good. Anyway, so Noms' sort of central topic was looking at different stories, different myths, different ways of approaching the world, and one of them was the Daphne and Apollo story, leaving out the most unpleasant parts. Talking about does one need to blend in to avoid danger? Because in the Apollo and Daphne story, as you surely said, and surely know, and surely everything, this is Hugh Noms. I feel very awkward talking about your speech instead of you talking about it.
Well, it's interesting to me because I don't know what comes across to the listener. So this is interesting to me. No, there was no teleprompter, and I almost wanted to say, let's buy a teleprompter. My last school had a teleprompter. I did a video. I did like a commercial video at my last school in which there was a teleprompter. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure the boss would go for it. Anyway, I don't want to be too specific about what I got from it, and I'm trying to speak kind of elliptically about parts of it for reasons, namely reasons of semi-anonymity and so on. The first part of it was like looking at the Apollo and Daphne story and talking about safety via blending in, which is like very common in Japan. The way in which you are kept feeling okay, the way in which you feel like you're not an outsider, that you belong, etc., is to just blend in. And this is understandable, but unfortunate. And then Noms talked about a second story, the story of Swimmy. Don't even know Swimmy? Is this a story you grew up with? 'Cause I definitely did not grow up with it. You grew up with it.
I grew up with it because I think this children's book author is very, very big here. Like, we went to a coffee shop, and they're like, hello, we're doing a special desserts in the theme of Leo Leoni, who's the author.
I see. Yeah.
You remember this? It was when we went with our friend from Illinois who was here to visit his mom.
Uh,
That coffee shop
I
had
do
this-
remember that.
yeah,
I do remember
right?
that. Yeah. There are a number of children's book that really hold the imagination here, even among adults, in a way that I don't think they're similar in the U.S.
Who?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh, super popular.
Alice in Wonderland?
Super popular. Yeah, yeah. The
Peter Rabbit?
Little Prince.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Little
these-
Prince,
these
super
all-
big. Yeah.
These will often appear in venues meant for adults. And I think it might be the equivalent of like Disney people in the U.S. People who like really enjoy the Disney properties and at some level like never grow up. And I'm not meaning as a slur, just the way in which they approach the world, possibly.
Yeah, it seems to be a way to recapture childhood
Yeah.
innocence. So,
Yeah.
like, you will see a lot of adult products here. Like, if you've ever, even if you're not in Japan, if you know Moleskine notebooks, like, there's a Little Prince edition of it. I suspect
There is.
it's for this market.
Possibly.
Right.
Which again strikes me being much larger here. Now that said, we've never lived in the biggest cities in the U.S. It's possible there's some amount of this, but I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
Whichever way, I should mention real quick, a number of you throughout today's discussion time, that's what I call it, today's conversation time, have commented using jokes from the talk the other night that was upsetting. So I see you, I validate you, but I just don't want to go that talk right now. It was a rough night. So, yeah. So the second part of the story was, or second part of Nab's talk, or there's an in-between portion, but the kind of the ending, we got the Swimmy story. And people seem not to know Swimmy, or haven't typed, it at least. So would you like to, you can run that
yeah,
part. And I'm going
yeah.
to get some coffee.
Oh gosh, not this
While you're
again.
doing that.
Oh boy, that's my foot.
Hope your foot's doing well.
That's my foot that got stomped on.
Is it okay?
Oh, now I stomped on your foot in reverse.
Is it okay?
Oh yeah, it's
All right,
fine.
very good. Yep, bye-bye.
Okay. So there's a children's book called Swimmy. It is by Leo Liani. You can look it up on YouTube and watch a man read it for you if you like, which is what I also did recently. Yeah, it's got wonderful art, right? It's won the Caldecott Medal, which is the children's book award. Like the Polar Express and a bunch of other ones have won it too. So he uses this art style that's part like sponges to make like stamps and stuff. It's really cool. But the story is about this little fish named Swimmy, and he grows up in a family of redfish, and he's the only blackfish. And so one day they're out and about doing their thing when a very hungry tuna comes by and it eats all of the redfish, and Swimmy escapes. So then he has to be all by himself, and he has to kind of wander around the world and explore the world all alone. And he sees that the world is wonderful, and there are all these amazing things that he sees, like jellyfish and I don't remember other things like sea anemones and stuff. And then one day he comes upon a family of little red fish that look just like his old family. And so he says, oh, the world is full of really cool stuff. Let's go out and look at it together. And the redfish don't want to because they're little fish and they are afraid that they'll get eaten, just like Swimmy's family did. And so he comes up with an idea, and his idea is that they would all come into formation to form a big fish, all of them together in formation, right? So it's like a bunch of little red fish all in the shape of one big red fish. And then he says that he'll be, because he's black, right? So he can't fit in there, except he says, oh, I'm the black fish, so I'll be the eye of the big fish. Right, this is like marching band formations or something. And so then they all swim in formation, and they look like a big fish, and so they don't get eaten. And then they go out and explore the world together. The end. Yeah, so that's the story of Swimmy, the fish. I explained this story as a way of talking about blending in or fitting in differently, where you don't have to be just like everybody else, but you figure out what is unique about you and how that can help your community. And so I presented this as two different paradigms of ways that people can think about themselves and their roles in their community. Yeah, I tried to encourage people to think about how they might think about what is unique about them as not something that they have to file away or shave away, but something that can uh, allow them to make a unique contribution to their community. Yeah. So that was the talk. Yeah. Uh, and I tried to kind of also like say that. So Swimmy says that he'll be the eye, right? And so I tried to tell people too that it doesn't mean that you have to be the center of attention, because I think that's also something that some of our differently socialized students are uncomfortable with. Like they don't want to be the center of attention. So I wanted to say, you know what, you don't have to be the center of attention. Eyes do lots of things, like they observe and they see how everything fits together and they offer perspective. And so I tried to provide a way in which maybe people who were less look at me could think of themselves as providing a unique contribution that wasn't the center of attention. Yeah. Yes. So that's that. Yes, a big fish with no eye would be weird. Although some of those, I think some of the bottom dweller fish, right, because their eyes are so like milky in a way, right, because they live in the dark, they look like they have no eye. And then I've also learned that some fish that are bottom dweller fish, their eyes migrate to one side of their body. And so they have two fish on one side of their body, which is pretty crazy looking. Flounder might be one. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way you're standing right now, I can't slide past you.
Oh, hello.
So you have a very nice stance, making sure that you're well grounded. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Yeah, I heard they went through the whole.
I went through the whole story.
I apologize.
I went through the whole talk.
Yeah, I apologize.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I apologize for taking longer. While the coffee was brewing, I decided to clean up and refill Little Fritz Word's saucer, water saucer. That's what we've been using recently. It's working better for his drinking. And part of cleaning the saucer to make sure it was like fresh, good water for him was picking up the saucer, which still had some money, some
Money in it.
Some water in it,
Wow.
rather, water in it, and weird connection. And the whole point of using the saucer is so we do not give him groundwater on the wooden floor. And so I pick up the saucer, carry it slowly over to the kitchen sink, and dump it on the floor immediately. And so at the end of the day, Fritz got groundwater. I've cleaned up the vast majority of it. I left a little bit in case he wants to lick the floor. But yeah, my best intentions. Right back again to enjoying groundwater.
Thank you for trying.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Hello, Vera. How you doing, my friend? Dorgan, you think I'm drinking from a beer stein? Yeah, it really is a coffee mug given to me by a great friend. And one of the few things I brought all the way to Japan that is, I guess, significant in some way. It's strange. I think that...
You brought Fritz with you all the way to Japan?
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I would say one of the few... what I mean to say is one of the few things that... one of the few things that had substantial significance other than living things. I don't have a lot of items in life that I'll say like, oh, that thing matters to me. Most of it is basically replaceable, and I don't know why. I think I always had kind of an awkward relationship with my things. That I'm like, they're contingent, whatever. But this mug I know was given to me in an important moment, and that's pretty good. HPG asks, how's the call? Yeah, had a good call. Thank you for asking. Very, very nice time. Good to catch up all the way. Vera asked about the CK3 DLC that we'll be playing on Monday. So we read about the patch notes on stream a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, maybe a month ago. Who knows? Time is an illusion. But I'll need to play the changes to clans to actually understand how they work. But yeah, that'll happen on Monday, my time, Sunday American time, and then I'll have a quick response. But for this point, I've not played the game, and so no review forthcoming. Speaking of reviews, though, I've begun putting reviews over on my Steam account. I'm intending to make myself a curator account, so all the reviews will be available in one place. and they are so long of reviews that I'm absolutely ready to say no one should read them. For me, it's more important to write them than actually have readership. Yeah.
I would just like to take a moment to thank the person whose username and handle I cannot read.
We just say Eka. That may be wrong. We say Eka.
I would like to thank Eka for the translation of the German phrase.
I love it. I love it. Yes, Eka
I was
is...
like, it's the together something has something. It's a crash. A Zusammenstoß is a crash.
I see.
Crazy.
Yeah. I'm always delighted that we have a wide variety of languages in chat, and everyone's got to deal with my yammering on in English, but I love the diversity among our folks. And I know that some stream channels have a rule, English only in chat, either for reasons of it's very hard to moderate a channel if you can't read the language, or for reasons of instead, we want to make this channel inclusive for everyone. English is assumed. If you speak another language in chat, it is very, very difficult to take part in a back and forth conversation with other viewers, which is understandable. And so years and years ago, I decided I was not going to do that. Because that the mods occasionally have to run a phrase through Google Translate, and almost always, if someone is immediately speaking in a different language in chat on their first message, they are making fun of me. So that's how this goes, and I don't mind it so much, but that person is not exactly a great portion of the channel usually. That said, the other way some new viewers go is, hi, I'm in Brazil, my English is very, very bad, but I just want to say thank you for your smile. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I try to give the little Portuguese hola.
Yeah, I'm like, what Portuguese do you know?
That's genuinely all of it. I mean, I know if I throw out some Spanish, it's probably close enough to get it across, but I usually don't try for fear of being very offensive and treating Portuguese as just Spanish. But yeah, years ago I decided that. That said, a while ago many of you were going back and forth in German and other languages, and I thought about pretending we have a rule here of staying in English, saying, oh, English only, USA. But I decided that was foolishness. I didn't want to do that. So
I would like to thank Vera for the lovely emote. That's so super cute. That's all. I just want to mention that as cute.
Hey, Rich Son, good seeing you. Popping in briefly, I appreciate your hanging out with us. Super, super kind. You're watching our stream play City Skylines today. You watch the people in the game. Very little racial diversity and no disabled folks at all.
Oh.
Yeah, no visibly disabled folks. I'm also comfortable saying our folks in the game do not have mental lives, and so, as such, do not have mental health questions at all. Yeah, I mean, Paradox is not super known for being especially inclusive, especially in the game's first release. The Crusader Kings 3, any Crusader Kings, has always had this awkward relationship with what you might call mental health, where it's a very strong binary of are you normal or are you depressed? And depression is bad for your health and gives access to certain unpleasant outcomes. And when it comes to, insanity, or I guess they can call it lunacy, right? This very quick movement from one to the other. And then the person who is a lunatic will often get just straight negative effects all the way through, except I think other lunatics like them.
Can they claim it's historical and that's how those people were viewed in those times?
Possibly. It is possible. I haven't read everything they've written on this, but I know in the most recent big update, they included a new perk called erratic, maybe, or something like that. Yeah, something like that. In which one has it's eccentric. And they were very, very clear to say, when we say eccentricity, we're not talking about mental differences, etc. And I think it was the first time I said, okay, they're trying to approach this differently than before. And so, yeah, I mean, your critique of cities is very, very good. I haven't spent much time looking at individual people, except for, are there people walking on the street, right? Is it the case that that are there people going about? But even that sentence there said, are there people walking on the street? And so, Yeah, and same way you have a variety of cars. They're not all just blue cars going around. It'd be great to have a variety of people, more than just what color clothes they're wearing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's the case that's a good critique and a thoughtful critique, and one I wish I'd made in my own review of it. It's something I need to be more attentive to.
Go back and edit.
I mean, I could, but at this point, I don't want to. I don't want to do that because I mean, unless I put at the very bottom like edit. I now notice I hadn't been thoughtful about this and that, and so I want to now say whoops, but also here's something that could change, and I'm glad that it is changing. I mean, I want to say better late than never, but still not super great that it's later. So yeah. So
I wonder if it says anything about or it says anything for having companies or development companies that are themselves more diverse, because I wonder if you have a more diverse population working around you, if you realize, oh, this person that I talk to every day is not in the game, or if you just don't even if you just think about putting that person in because it's part of your life.
Yeah. I'm not meaning to say this was happening in Paradox's case is a generalized comment about the world of gaming today. Many developers have tried to start being more attentive and thoughtful about these things. In the case of book publishing, there are people who are now called inclusivity readers. And so after a book is finished and before it goes to press, there's often a reading through of, okay, what are we bringing along with this? Now, if the character is a terrible racist and they're obviously being racist, that's not what they're looking for. Of course that happens. But instead they're looking for, they're looking for
sensitivity readers, right?
just the kind of places where we unknowingly leave people out or we're thoughtless about whatever. And I think some companies that make games are starting to do the same kind of move, and trying to include more kinds of people and so on. Now, unfortunately, this is really for me double underline unfortunately, if it's the case that a person's included who is outside of what's the expected norm in society, a lot of negative reviews will come through. When did games get all political? When did games get all social justice-y? You put black people in just to make a point about how woke you are. And this is terrible. This is genuinely terrible, because it does assume a certain kind of politics just is when you bring in people other than the expected. And the expected, of course, I'm putting quotation marks, obviously, because I think that's not quite right. And I wish that wouldn't happen. Because it makes me sad to be associated with a certain subset of gamerdom. But yeah, there have been review bombs. There have been, I think, particularly in Last of Us 2, that's one the big one, of course. That there's a character who may have been a trans person. It didn't quite come out all the way about I believe what her stats was, but I believe she was a little bulkier than many video game women are. Usually they're just kind of hilariously poor body image character as the female lead. And I think the comment then was this is pushing politics on us. This is pushing a certain way of seeing the world on us that we shouldn't have to deal with, which again entirely ignores that the leaving out is already political already. Right? The standard feminist line, everything is political. And it just isn't noticed as much if one stays within the culture's standard lines. But there's an ideology behind that, assumption behind that, etc.
Yeah, I wonder.
I went on way too long. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I was wondering if it would change in due time, just like how once upon a time people didn't like that some video game character leads that they were playing and controlling were women.
Sure.
Right. There was a time where guys were like, the main character of Metroid is a woman. What?
Yeah, I think it was the case that some people were surprised and delighted by it, and others I think were somewhat horrified, and that's unfortunate. Yeah, but I mean, I think we can always point to, gosh, I hope for progressivism. Gosh, I hope for of a kind of change in people's mindsets of the world. I said in the past week, though, teaching has been kind of terrible.
Yeah.
And so I'm surprised at how unimaginative my students can be at times.
Sometimes the everyone's different, you be you, also can revert into like relativism or apathy or something, right?
Yeah, or defeatism. There's no point in trying because, one student said yesterday to me pretty directly, the only way to care about big issues is if you go and become Greta Thunberg, if you go and become David Hogg, if you go and become people who are speaking into the halls of power. And that's too bad. That's too bad, right? The attempt to.
But I don't know Greta Thunberg's biography as well, but
Sure.
David Hogg was just some guy going to school until something happened, right? So it's not like these people came out of the womb fully formed and was like, I am an activist.
Yeah, Thunberg, the opposite of Hogg, stopped going to school in protest of, I believe, a policy her nation was putting through, and her parents supported her. Mm-hmm. I think that's the big thing. I expect, when people are young, I don't know, I'm old now. When people are young, there's this moment of, oh, I'd love to make a difference, but imagine the consequences. Here in Japan especially, people will treat me poorly because I'm different, right? And so, I don't know. I always want to say the kids are all right, that the young people are the hope in the future because they aren't yet beat down on imagination. But I think they're beat down on imagination.
Your class this semester seems to be beat down on imagination.
They do. And again, there's certain people, certain students say hey, that's cool to think about. Hey, I wonder, we can learn from that. But a lot of the rest of them just don't even want to bother. And I was kind of direct with a student yesterday who's been popping off about how any imaginative difference in the world will be defeated by economics. And she was put it that way, defeated by economics. I said, well, what do you mean when you say defeated by economics? She said, well, I'm an economics major, so let me tell you how the world works, right? And I responded to her after she had just kind of dumped out this, she thought, ideologically neutral, no assumptions about anything, account of how the world works, by saying, I want you to go kind of slowly here, because the person you're critiquing, the person whose ideas you're dismissing out of hand, is obviously very intelligent and has been working on this project for 25 years. And it's a runaway bestseller in Japan. It's being translated into languages around the world. A lot of people are wanting to think with this person as well. And to have you say, this is just idiocy, this is obviously wrong, I think reveal a certain kind of closed-mindedness. And remember, and I said this, with all due respect, etc., you were an undergraduate in economics, right? You do not know all of the complexity. You've taken a few classes, and to take those few classes and say, here is how the world must work, it's very, very sad, very closed-minded. And I think the student was offended, but understood what I was getting at. And I've been a little more confrontational with my students this past week than I usually am, because usually they will imagine with me. Mm-hmm. Usually they're willing to say, what could it be? And even if it won't be, even if it's wrong ultimately, just that positive moment of let's consider it together is important, I think. But
yeah, oh boy, I forgot I'm horrified, I guess, disturbed. I would like to mention how a lot of people just have hot takes now.
Sure.
Everything is a hot take.
Yeah, and that's fine for Twitter, but not great for education.
Oh, Twitter, how cute. TikTok, I believe, is the forum it's meant for.
Yeah, whichever way. The pop-off insistence on, I've got it all figured out, especially from a person who hasn't done much reading, hasn't done a lot of thinking yet. And I don't want to say that young people can't be right about absolutely everything, but I don't know. If you're dismissing out of hand someone's 25-year project from a absolutely, I think, brilliant Japanese person. Oh, this is the first thing. I said to my class, does it matter to you you're reading a Japanese person's thoughts today? Because, hey, we're in Japan. and to a person they said, no, that's irrelevant, which really gets me because one of the pieces of feedback my programs gets is, this is too Westocentric. I was like, I'm teaching Japanese stuff and you don't care. So no more complaining, no more complaining. Nam, do you have an affirming story or something that made you smile in the past week unexpectedly? One nice thing that happened at all.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
one of.
I'll be back in 3 minutes.
Once again.
And then we'll do the crossword. And then video
my.
games. Video games coming.
I'm getting abandoned again. My nice story is one of our faculty members was doing some research and went to Day of the Dead, went to Mexico for Day of the Dead for the research they were doing. And that was I approved it a while back, and then so they came back, and there was this nice little bag on my door handle, and it said, "Oh, thanks for the research trip. I just got back from it." And inside there was one something that's called masapan, which is it's a candy, a dessert confectionery made out of ground peanuts and pounded into a small cylindrical cake, and it was yums. If you've had halva, it's very similar. It's made with peanuts, very tasty. I split that with Riz and I gave him half of it. And then there was also contained in my bag a little wooden figurine that I think was a lizard, a stylized lizard, and it was red, and it was painted red with all these different decorations on it, and it was so cute. It was lovely. I don't really know it. I don't know if it has any significance. I assume it's something that's related to Day of the Dead, but it was just very thoughtful of this faculty member to bring this all the way back from Mexico and to even get it there. Yeah, so I was very appreciative of that. Okay, bye now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You say in France, students be told early on, you're talking like an idiot, stop. Yeah, I try to run an affirming classroom. Or I try to run an affirming classroom, which I say, okay, any idea that comes forward, we'll spend some time thinking about it and working on it. And, yeah, I'm just not sure. I've considered just lecturing in the past week. Maybe in the future I'll do that, and we'll see. Cheer story. I don't know if you mentioned this is the general cultural habit here, right?
What? Oh, the
Gift
omiyage?
giving.
The
Yeah.
omiyage. Okay.
When you return from abroad, you bring gifts for folks. Now, you don't bring them for literally everyone. That'd be ridiculous. But it is the case that you are. And so people tend to bring you gifts, and it's a really cool one. I think you're absolutely right that I'm glad you're displaying it in your office now.
Yeah, it's so cute. There's the gift giving culture is partly to, I think it was different in my case, but often you also bring treats for your colleagues to thank them for the extra work they had to do while you were away on vacation.
Sure.
And there's boxes of pre-wrapped, individually packaged and gift wrapped, cookies and crackers and all sorts of things that are sold in the train station so that you can grab it on the way back. And when you get back to work, you walk around and you say, please have one, thank you very much, I'm back, please have one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because in the US I think there's duty free shops in the airports, and there's places to get touristy items like hello from California, and you can give someone a California shirt. But it's often very individual and focused on the person, as opposed to intentionally made for sharing.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we need to run an ad break in 1 minute 30, and at that point, I will need to go to gaming because I'm enjoying this so much. But I must finish out our playthrough of Cities.
I think what I like is that they're all little things, so it's not here's a big thing that I bought just for you, but it's more I don't know, there's so many little moments of appreciation or something. I just got something the other day. I didn't show you. my boss's admin assistant brought something the other day and gave it to my admin assistant. So she brought it to me. She's like, this is from,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what? Again?
Yeah, the pretty consistent gift giving here, and it's been mocked on English language Japanese resident forums is like the endless cycle of obligation of gift giving. And there's a certain amount of that, but it also does work to like solidify certain kinds of social bonds.
Yeah, and it gives you an excuse to talk to somebody, which I think is part of
Absolutely.
what makes a nice office
Absolutely.
culture.
Absolutely. No, anything right. All right, friends. In about 22 seconds, we are running a little ad break. That little ad break will go for 3 minutes times. On the other side of the ad break, we'll play a video game, I swear. Today we've been live so far for an hour and 30 minutes. I've really enjoyed it. That said, I probably should have moved over to the good old Just Chatting directory. I always remember we should move.
It's MBRDX.
Hey, Amberty, good seeing you. We're emailing you today, if we remember. Okay.
We were supposed to email you 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. Got very close to it.
Oh, you did it the wrong way. You did it the British, didn't you? Oh, I thought you went the other way.
Well, I did go the other way, but I'm not a British person. I'm an American person. They mean just the same all the way. I think to American people. Gestures are hard and okay.
I'm in a Japanese photograph.
That's true. That's how it tends to go. Rich, have a good night, my friend. I hope to see you again real soon. Real soon. Yeah, I always remember that. What is it? I always remember to move to Just Chatting directory. I've been live for more than an hour, and then I feel very silly making the change. I think what I need to do on Chit Chat days, and part of that I never quite know how long you want to stay.
Yeah.
We have to figure that part out.
Yeah.
Is to go live in the game directory just to tell people this is the thing that we'll be doing on stream today, and then immediately move Just Chatting, and then come out afterwards.
It's too bad you can't like set it on a schedule or something. Like you can't pre-program it like after an hour move to or something.
Klaus, I appreciate you. So yeah, I agree. And there probably are bots that would do that.
Oh, beep bot.
The only issue is we never quite know how long this is going to go.
Yeah.
We're never quite aware.
But that's how we can think through it beforehand.
Yeah, but it's sometimes I want to keep the conversation going because it's going so well, and people seem engaged and having a fun time, etc. And so I appreciate.
Can't tell that I'm boogieing down here.
Now I'm just having a little dance. You're dancing to piano music. That's delightful. Yeah, and so on days when we're really enjoying the conversation, it's being good for us, and people are well engaged and chit-chatting back and forth, I don't want to say, aha, now it is time for video games, in which I endlessly talk about curves in the road, etc.
What about roundabouts?
Roundabouts, curves in the road, etc. Am I using you all as a replacement for the class for me to gather joy by lecturing? I mean, I hadn't thought that way. But no, I think of this time as being, like I said yesterday, just affirming personhood time, when we're able to hang out and have some conversation and so on.
So for Monday, please have read the article that Riz will be posting in Discord, and we can come together and have a little chit chat about it.
I mean, I did consider posting the New York Times Saito article that I taught yesterday, because I'm curious what people think about it outside of my students, but we'll see. No homework.
I was gonna say, oh no, now they're gonna do it.
That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying we have to discuss on Monday, but there's a book club channel or serious discussion channel on Discord where ideas are shared.
That's true.
And so if someone wants to talk to me about it or give their thoughts, that'd be cool. It's only a few pages long. It's New York Times, so relatively easy reading. Though for my students, you wouldn't know that. Saito's central idea is called degrowth communism. I asked the class, what does degrowth mean? Dead silence. Absolutely nothing. It was a rough one. It was a rough one for sure. Yes, you must print out the article because the only way to read efficiently is in hard copy.
You also have to underline it and annotate it.
All the way through. You better show me your annotations. So we'll see. All right, we've talked through the entire ad break. That's how this thing goes. So maybe no crossword puzzle today. And
that's okay.
That's fine.
I need to get going too.
What's the article's title? I think it's something like, "Is shrinking good for Japan?" It is.
Is that a short joke?
Well, the short joke earlier, you may have seen.
I saw.
Is yesterday I had a short stream because of the call. Today we have a short stream because noms. Short stream.
Especially when you abandoned me and I had to tell my stories all by myself.
I appreciate that, though. I appreciate that you're getting increasingly good at carrying the stream live. I appreciate.
It just depends how I'm feeling that day. I'm feeling a little more capacious today.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm tired.
Yeah, I get that. But you do a great job. Thank you for posting the link. I think the only thing to say that I know that New York Times is sometimes paywall gated, and so I'm occasionally things show up on the Discord that do not have paywall gating, etc. And I don't know how that happens. Gosh, the internet's confusing. Old man Resori just pushes buttons and things happen. So, hello, New York Times. I pay you money every month. I love you. Please don't ban me.
Nada, you're welcome for the Van Halen.
Wait, what Van Halen?
Jump! No, I don't know. I that's me revealing that I don't know Dutch.
Oh.
I don't know what Verhalen is.
I think that Dank Jul is thank you.
Yeah,
For the conversation, maybe? Verhalen? Company? I don't know. Yeah. What would it be in German? If you had to, like, sound out in German with, like, rocks in your mouth, what would it sound like to you?
That I can't get it.
Okay, so that's what Gellies are, our Dutch friend. Our Dutch friend described it as...
Dutch is like smooth German. It's like smooth German.
Is that right? Okay.
That's what Dutch sounds like. Smooth German.
Maybe it's the opposite direction then. That German is just Dutch spoken with rocks in your mouth. Something like that is what Gelly's joke was.
Maybe I do understand it.
But I think
it seems a language that's placed more forward in the mouth than German, which seems like a little bit more back in the mouth.
Yeah, I think of the stories. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Stories.
There we go. What's the German word for stories? Do you know? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just curious.
Erzählungen.
Okay, so very different than Verhalen.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very good. Very good. Isn't there some philosophical word, like the word for concepts, maybe? That's Begriffen, never mind. Good to go. The grasping. All right. Good to see you. No, that's not right. Good to see you. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you immensely, Noms. Yeah, and I feel a little bit better mood than when I started. I'm glad I went live today, so that's cool. Some part of me does want to say goodbye, friends. I will not be saying that. Instead, we're
No, because I'm going to go out and go do shopping, which you do not like doing.
That's true, but without you, I could definitely, return to the couch, to my little blanket, and hide from the world. But let's not do that. Let's instead stay a person as best we can. Noms, thank you. This was a very nice time. Why do you do this? Why do you do this, Noms? Would you care for some coffee? Welp.
You may just continue your...
Don't like it.
Continue, okay.
Don't like it. Okay. Don't like it.
Bye.
Noms, thank you so much.
Bye.
I appreciate you.
I'm gonna go finish my little yoga video.
As I was walking back in before I hit the green screen, so it's out of place. Then I get better or worse? All better. Yeah, thanks for being here. So Hippie Guy, yeah, Saito's key argument is independently of whether the revolution comes, independently of whether Marxism's for everyone, why don't we care about our neighbors? Why don't we find ways to share the things we make while volunteering? If we work fewer hours, wouldn't it be great to, grow some food for people who are hungry?
Hi, I just wanted to point out that I realized that Erzählung is probably explanation. A story is a
Someone
Geschichte.
Said. Exactly.
Geschichte, yeah.
Yeah, well done. Well done. You found the word.
Yeah.
Just not on the dot. Or
no,
on the
just,
spot.
I found it on the stairs walking upstairs.
Yeah, good job. Good
Goodbye
job. You
now.
looked down and you said, oh, it's etched right here, German. A suggestion that you should stream your shopping. You want Noms to be one of those super annoying streamers in Japan who are... Oops, indeed. Super annoying streamers in Japan who are, causing a scene in public.
I saw someone doing that on the little shopping strip between that we take to go to work. I saw someone doing that where they had like a little streamy, handy thing and walking down the street, and I wanted to be like, bonk. But
Yeah.
I did not assault the YouTube streamer in
Were they
Japan.
speaking to it, or were they just like showing stuff?
I couldn't tell. If they were speaking, it was quite quiet.
I mean,
So
I appreciate that.
it was not as annoying as it could have been.
Yo, coming to you live from Tokyo downtown. I'm the big boy, and
This is me with my little selfie stick.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's like this.
Did I say I'm the big boy in downtown? I did. I did say that. Please don't clip it. Have a nice day. All right, Noms, appreciate you.
No, I'm good.
Thank
No
you
problem.
very,
No,
very,
little
very
shopping.
much.
I mean, the 100 yen stores in Japan are something else, and they should be streamed.
All right, we'll see you again soon, Noms. Appreciate you. Friends, welcome to It's Just You and Me Now. We're just hanging out, having a good time. And I feel a little bad that my standard mockery of streamers is that. Is Saito in the text worth spending time on beyond getting the gist of the argument? So exist, I don't read Japanese well enough to tell you the answer to that. As of right now, he has had some texts published in English that I've not yet read. I'm waiting for his popular book, which is coming out in January in English. And I want to read that first as a, could I teach this to my students here? Like, would it be worth teaching? Because his other books, which have been translated, are heavily steeped in theory. And I don't want that inside of myself when I go and read his popular book. Like, of course, the general arguments of Marxism and so on is already inside of me, fine. But if he has like particular technical moves, I think he might bring in Spinoza. Like, I don't want that in here with the, I don't want that in here with what I'm going to teach the students. So I will be reading his English language book, which is a pop book, good for undergrads. And then I'll be going back and reading all the rest. All I know is that Saito works at Todai, University of Tokyo, the most prestigious school in all of Japan. He's been working on the product for a very, very long time, and I think it's the case. That he is coming forward as probably the leading Japanese social political theorist. So if I'm living in Japan and I want to write again for publication, this would be the way to go, because I think though he speaks English and German, they're not super great. He has done some translation work from English to Japanese, but it's always in concert with a native English speaker. So, yeah. I'm not sure. I'll answer that question for you after January, etc. He has done very, very serious work. It's true. Now, that said, I think the quick little article will give you like at least a general overview of where he's going. And if you're into, political thought generally, I'm going to be super interested to read. Sorry, friends, more talk time. I'd be super interested to read his thought, not only along the lines he wants, which is the standard, like, let's do Marxism thing, but instead see how it connects to other Western thinkers who are interested in non-state directed understandings of what it means to build communities. Anarchism. I don't use this word in the classroom because the students then roll their eyes and suggest that I'm a big dum-dum for even mentioning the word. But yeah, the majority of our interactions are anarchistic. The majority of us have perfectly fine lives with our neighbors and so on without saying, I need a police officer. With that said, I need an ambulance. It is the case that this little spot right here needs someone to be taken care of and taken to the hospital. And so we have one hospital currently, which is not so far away from here. Where is it? It's on the main drag. Oh, it's actually on the so-called wrong direction. Let me rotate so things are in the direction I built them. Down here in the Path of Tranquility. There it is. So they have 44 of 100 patients. They have 4 out of 5 ambulances being used. I would like to expand the ambulance bay so that we're able to, get more folks out there, brought back home. We've doubled it just then. Unfortunately, all you can do, you can only do 10 ambulances per hospital. We can also go ahead and get additional space for patients, but as of right now, we don't need that. So a good change, nicely improved. Now, with that said, this building has become condemned. So one element I've noticed in this game, and there's probably a way to fix it, but I'm not quite sure what it is at times there's tremendous demand for subsidized low-rent housing. Fine. However, this often drops off very quickly, and the low-rent buildings become condemned. Fine. But in this moment, there are 4 apartment buildings literally right next door that are saying the rent is too high. Insert meme of that guy running on the rent is too high party in New York City. Say the rent's too high. That's what this building is for. So I wonder if I destroy this building, would these people move over? Do we have a welfare office? I believe that we do. Give me one moment to check that one out. So I knocked down the old building. I have no idea. The welfare office, is there an easy way to find it? I think there is. Administration? Yeah. So it's literally right here. Literally right here is where it is. Now, I don't quite know how this building works. We'll look at it in just a moment. But I would think it's not only helping the folks right across the street. Though maybe it is. Because these people seem to have that really, really terrible well-being. So let me go and read about the welfare office and see what is what. Helps the less fortunate by increasing well-being in the surrounding neighborhood. I guess I don't know what surrounding means exactly. I mean, I know what surrounding means. I just don't know at what distance. Put a park next to it to increase property value. Oh, Johnny, are you explaining to me that when it says rent's too high, it doesn't mean it's too high for what the people can afford, but instead it's too high for what they're getting for their buck. So if I put a property or a park here, they'll then say, the rent is now worth it. Select operating district. I think you have to create an operating district. If you want to, you can limit the area in which it works. Or maybe you can put it across town and say, work here especially, as opposed to everywhere nearby. That could be a smart idea. If you put all your welfare offices down here, you can say, you're responsible for just the exchange. You're for the Howdy Hill, etc. But sure, I'm happy to throw down a park if it resolved all our problems. I just wish I knew why or how it would do so. So pick you, and golly gosh, you're right. For whatever reason, that little corner there is considered to be lacking in parkitude. Now, the thing to say of that, of course, is that we did knock down a building, and so let's replace that with some parks for our people, and we'll see how that changes things in just a little bit. Property valuation is one part of the game I don't fully understand. So, building occupiers have trouble paying rent, a higher zone density or different zoning may be needed. So, they're not doing terribly well. We don't have that much demand for jobs, whether commercial or industrial, but they're of comfortable wealth, but they can't afford it. So as I said previously, maybe this is just saying we need to have, welcome to the markets, we need to have more competition, so the more possible place to live, the better off it'll go, because rents will come down in general. I don't know if that's true, rent-seeking behavior, etc., but sure, let's try. And there is demand for it, so hopefully once the demand is met, everything will equilibrate. Is that the word? Sure. Yesterday we spent a great period... I forgot. Behold, man. I totally forgot I did this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever done in a city builder. As I was doing, I was saying, why am I doing this? but I made a person, and I named the parts of the person after the parts of the body, and yeah, that's pretty darn silly. Yeah, and I even made a hand, so they're waving to you. Behold the misshapen hand. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes, but this one does delight me quite a bit. We put a parking lot here, I think. No, that's the outdoor gym. That's a swolatorium. Is there a parking lot nearby? Seems like no. Kind of sort of want to build one just to ensure that we don't have too much traffic on the street. I'll go and throw one right in the middle here, though I do worry a parking lot will make the single-family homes a little bit less appealing. So I want to check that out. So for right now, if I select single-family homes, this place is great for them. Yes, 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 please. If we throw a very small parking lot in and then say off-street parking preferred, and what will happen exactly? The smallest parking lot is way, way too big. Alright, we learned our lesson, never mind. This area is just for parks then. Now speaking of dumping more and more parks into a place, I am recognizing that... Oh, so the Swolatorium is smaller than other parks. even smaller than the so-called small park. Weird. Okay, that one will work. The small playground is smaller than the small park. More happiness for everyone. And the dog park. Oh, look at this lovely like park area. I want it all transposed to the right just slightly. Or we could just make a nice area here with more standard trees, etc. Probably after a while. Ignoring you for right now, what else can we do? What else can we do? Gotta make the stomach bigger for additional cars. Right you are, my friend. Now, I'm sure I ended stream yesterday by saying, oh, I want to do this. Oh, golly gosh, I know what it is. Remember yesterday's stream? This is literally all we made on yesterday's stream. This right here. We made 2, that's connected, good. Made 2 off-ramps from the big highway, no on-ramps. We then began to make an area for people to live together in harmony and peace, and then attach it to absolutely nothing. That's why we started today's stream looking at this, so I'd remember what I meant to do, and I immediately got distracted by something else. So, what we gotta do is connect here to over here, and we do own the property rights, the building rights, as we are the state enforcer of property, so haha, it's mine. And then the electricity also. I believe towards the end of the stream we had a horrible realization in which we learned that, the power was not being distributed correctly, and so unfortunately we were spending so much money month over month on importing electricity, and I think that's been at least partially remedied now. So out here, we wanted a little gravel road for our workers to go check out the industry. Nope, that's not true. The infrastructure. And then it needs to be connected to something. I'm going to connect it to here, because this is kind of like the industrial electricity maker zone. Now, one of the more important questions we're going to answer in just a little bit is the geothermal generator attached to the outgoing power, the sell the power area? Because if it's not, we are wasting so much power. And that would be, as the word has it, not super great. I went the wrong direction. Let me go ahead and remove just a little bit of the curve here, because we want to go leftwardly instead. Good old leftwardly. Oh, I'm suddenly wondering, is there a compass? There's not. At least not seeing it. If we go to this view, if we go to this view, does it snap to a particular direction? It doesn't. So we are at the North Pole. Directions are very confusing. Let's not ask hard questions about where we are and what we're doing. All right, so instead, leftwardly we go. Click there and turn there. Click there and turn there. Then forward. And I'll bring out the road. Bring out your road. Once again, this area does not have the world's greatest, world's greatest height for what we're doing. So we're going to change to our good friend the landscape tool. And we're going to make this a little bit smaller, hopefully. I should ask hard questions about where we are and what we're doing as a philosophy teacher. Yeah, I don't understand how directions work. I mean, I understand like relative direction with respect to fixed points. I understand something to do with like indexicals. So where is here, where is there, where is etc. But I do not know anything to say about how the North Pole actually works, except I've been told it's relatively confusing. And I love that we continue to apparently dig through the snow. This is actually mountain face, but wouldn't it be amazing if we built on top of a snowbank and packed it down? Someday, spring will come, and when that happens, things are going to be very unfortunate for absolutely everybody. Hopefully that's a good enough streak that if we back off a little bit, we can begin to connect all this together. We'll see. All I know is that the North Pole magnets are magic. Yeah, don't exist. Think of the final cause. That's the North Pole. It is the direction in which all things go. Teleology working out in the world. And if you don't know what teleology is, have you ever considered an acorn? An An acorn is not an oak tree, but its goal, its aim, the reason for its being is to become an oak tree. Everything in the world's like that, I swear. I believe that is the argument we often use, at least with the undergraduates. Yeah, the only problem is with that metaphor for the North Pole is you can't move away from your natural end. The oak tree or the acorn can't say, I'm uninterested in being an oak tree, let me instead head south. I don't think that quite works. That's right. The way I understand teleology is we are all interested in being oak trees. If you have not tried to be an oak tree yet, you're failing yourself and your family, and most importantly, your God. So, alright, so the smoothing tool is not quite doing what I want to. I'm going to lower the intensity of insmalling and hope that this will work. We may have to continue digging quite a bit. And again, once the snow is gone, this is going to look absolutely ridiculous. So I need to continue digging out probably to give us an area where we can slowly go down to and then make it curve. That's right. Switchback is necessary. What if I go for the other direction just a little bit and then back off again and see what happens? And part of my review of this game was they do a great job of making it possible to make attractive roads without using mods. And oh boy howdy. You have to use the tools correctly though, not just pushing random buttons and hoping for the best a la the Resorty way. So, wish to insmallen the changes we go. And enjoy your potholes. Let me go ahead and lower brush strength once more. And just try to make a nice little smooth slope down. If I do the leveling at each level, that's right, leveling each level, can they make that drop off smoothly? Gosh, I hope so. Yes, so it's using more ramps than I'd like, but that's okay. And if I go all the way forward to here, it's better. It's better at least, and then it's bad again. So we run into the exact same problem as before. We just need to continue going step by step very slowly, surmounting each and every little hill, changing the elevation until we're at where we really want to be. So I think part of this section here has no actual slope down, and maybe even a slope up. What about the slope tool? So I thought the way the slope tool works, and I'm ready to say I'm wrong about this. I thought the way the slope tool works is creates a slope by evening out the terrain height between the terraform area and the target height. Okay, I was wrong. Here's a hint. I don't understand how mechanics work still. I thought the way the slope tool works is if you have like a nice, lovely ridge like this, you push the slope tool and bingo bango, it becomes an absolute sheer drop off, or it becomes a perfectly 45 degree. So it's a triangle. It's a triangle. Yeah, a right triangle where the part here opposite the hypotenuse, math, is at 90 degrees, right? Okay, that kind of thing. I'm so glad it doesn't work that way. So I think this is exactly what I want, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for knowing that is the case. So we want to keep clicking, keep clicking, and see if this will work. Now, over here, I want to level, in fact. Let me level with you for a moment, comma, bro. And just level all of this down. And then I wonder, once we get to here... Okay, so I wish to slope between right-click, left kick. Left kick, indeed. Here comes my foot. Left-click, right-click, left-click. I think the issue is I'm not exactly sure how to read these lines. Like, I know these lines are the magic way to understand the topography, sorry. And unfortunately, I'm just not the world's best at that. I think this will work, though. I think like the closer the lines are together, the higher it is. relative to the rest of the map, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. Despite being a Boy Scout, I've forgotten how to read maps. Also, man alive, I have a student who's a Boy Scout, or was a Boy Scout, is an Eagle Scout, so reached the highest level in scouting. And I mentioned in passing to him one day before I knew that he was a scout. I mentioned in passing, as a kid, I joined the Boy Scouts to find meaning in my life because they're an organization that's respected, and so maybe I'd be respected too. And unfortunately, after mentioning that, we've been talking about the Boy Scouts a whole bunch. So I like him a lot. But Boy Scoutery is not a topic I wanted to think about because I was so bullied in the Boy Scout organization. And I went to the Scoutmaster. I talked about it with Scoutmaster a little bit, like, these guys are really mean to me, and it's not very Scout-like, and what about the virtues, and on my honor I'll do my duty to God, my country, etc. And yeah, they weren't quite on board with. So the leaders talked to the fellows and then said to me, "Hey, if they give you trouble again, let us know." And then after one meeting, the fellows who had been not so great to me approached me. I thought an apology was coming, but as they were high schoolers, instead it was a bit more about why did you go to the bosses, etc., etc. And that felt pretty bad, and I just kind of quit at that point. So kids are mean, right? That's always the standard answer to all these things. Kids are just kind of mean. Called this Sled Hill Lane. So hopefully people will come up this way. We'll even give them a little parking lot. They're not going to use the way I want them to, but we can imagine, golly gosh. So, little parking lot on the side here. I'm hoping that parents bring their kids here and go and find some sledding fun. Whee! Maybe. Anyway, this is now attached, and so we have power. Now we're in this area. As we get power there, people immediately say, "My family's dead. Come pick up the dead." And like I said, there's no way out of here right now. So what we need to do is to, go ahead and put a road from this side onto the highway once more. We'll do that. This time, thank you for explaining how the slope tool works. It's a click and drag as opposed to a click and click. Thank you. I definitely misused it. I don't think there's a tutorial option about how sloping works. That's cool. We learned a lot anyway. Okay, so my standard rule is that people get onto the highway after they get off of the highway. And so we want to have a one-way that runs possibly just left-hand side from here over to here and see how that goes. The road. Oh, some of you will not like this story, and others will be delighted by the story. Yesterday, I was thinking about what games I should review, because I've played a ton of games and never written reviews about them on this old Steam. And looking through the list of games, I was like, oh wait, Kenshi. Not that I'm already of a review exactly, but I haven't played Kenshi in such a long time. And it's strange. It's a game that I really enjoy. I really, really enjoy. It's one of those games, if I had all the time in the world, I would play it so often off stream. It's a game that is absolutely, what's the word for it? The community is absolutely ambivalent on, right? It's pulled in both directions hard. It's not a game that folks love. No, sorry, it's not a game that people are meh about. It tends to be absolute love or absolute hate. And that makes it not a great stream game. But at the same time, like, maybe it's about time for the once in a while good old playthrough of our friend Kenshi. I don't know. Definitely on Monday we're playing a little game called... wait, why can't you continue here? What's the bright red going on? Do I not own this bit? I definitely own this bit. Is something running underground here, maybe? Yeah, so I know if I choose to play Kenshi, that will drive a fair number of you away for the duration. That said, the stream has survived worse before, and it will survive worse again. Wait, no. Invalid shape. It doesn't say slope too steep. Like, can I avoid this bit maybe? That's very, very strange. So weird curves I wasn't quite looking forward to. A much more aggressive curve than I wanted. Jimmy just bought Kenshi. Hey, awesome. Hey, awesome. Have you seen us play it before? Is it a game that you're somewhat aware of how it's played, or is it that game was recommended, why not try it? You're trying to learn the game, you welcome me playing it. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to do so. The issue is, it's not exactly clear there's much to teach. If your current worry is, my people keep getting beaten up and having their arms and legs ripped off, that's Kenshi! So the initial move for a lot of players who are just learning Kenshi is go to a place where guards will beat you up and you won't die, and you'll gradually be able to you're going to level up in such a way that your people won't get beaten up quite as badly as before. For a lot of players who are newer and don't have the whole map memorized, you need money early. Welp, go spend the next 15 hours having your characters run back and forth to make as much money as possible on copper deposits. Like, it's just a basically unfriendly game when the playthrough starts. And so it's so alienating to people who want to play it because they say, oh, I want to be the standard player character. I want to be the god here, the person who is able to destroy and take and win. And Kenshi says, no, you're just an individual. You're just a character in the world like every other character in the world. And there are people who are exceptional fighters. There are people who have a whole horde and band of people who will support them. And how dare you think that you can just march in there and immediately win a fight? The game says fairly directly, at least in how it responds to you, everything in the entire world is higher level than you when you start. You can go have a fist fight with a goat and you might die. And that's such a jarring experience for some players. And it takes a while to get past that point unless you really know what you're doing. And I don't really know what I'm doing, but it's fun anyway. Hey, Wombat for Hire. Wombat for Hire, thank you so much indeed for your brand new subscription. I appreciate that. Thank you for your kindness. And I'm glad that you're loving the content and the passion I bring to the games I play. That is super, super, super cool. Thank you for your niceness and for enjoying time with us. Like I said, new subs, always very, very kind. When I see a new name pop up with this person subscribed for the first time, it is always a very special feeling. Not that you all who have subscribed for a long time are old hat by any means. I like you too. But it's nice to say, someone new has decided to get in on that train also. So thank you much indeed. Hey Sims, how is CS2? I didn't make a command for Here's Resorty's review. Let me go ahead and grab it, because there's a lot to say about how is Kenshi... Nope. Kenshi 2 does not exist. How is this game 2? And let me just post in chat a link to my review of the game. It is recommended, but it requires a bit of contextualization on that. So, there you go. And if you're ever interested in following me on Steam, you're welcome to do so. That said, I do not ever log into the friends list. I just can't handle one more social media platform to talk to people. If you want to talk to me on Discord, awesome, I'm always there. Just send me a message. But I can't do also Steam. So you're following me just see my activity, including reviews. But good to see you. That said, Sims, my general sense is the game is fun and good. There's a lot of commonality between it and CS1. Definitely there are things that are new and different, but they are not so new and different that if you don't have a lot of cash to spend, you should absolutely positively go buy this game. If you're enjoying CS1 and it makes you happy, I don't think you're poorly served, I guess, by not playing the game. That's my story. That's my story. The game is buggy. Shen encourages share of crashes, so buyer beware. Yeah, I haven't seen a single crash, honestly. Yeah, to be entirely honest, I played it now for, about 43 hours over the past couple weeks, and there's not been a single crash. Maybe a little bit of lag, but obviously experiences differ, etc., etc. Just talk my own experience, but yeah, that's definitely something I didn't, I didn't see in my playthroughs. Shen, of course, to be trusted, but everybody's a little bit different, I suppose. So where we want to get this thing is right here if possible. So we're now on a second tunnel. The game just hung very, very slightly for about a second or so, and I said, oh, it's crashing. I said it's not crashing, and that's how it goes there. So that's how it goes. Hey, Tiger Blood, how many hours in Japanese work week? I think the legally understood this is a full-time job in Japan is 37.5 hours. And with that said, the vast majority of salaried workers in Yieldy, Japan here work significantly more than that. There's a tremendous focus in Japan on looking like you're chipping in, looking like you're good for the team, which is kind of alienating to American folks who start working in Japanese workplaces. The standard example is if the boss says, hey, friends, they don't say friends. Hello, employees, certainly. If you've been working here all day, it's 10 p.m., 12 p.m., or it's 12 a.m., still working, I want to go drinking. You're expected socially to go drinking with the boss. Even if you'd rather go home to your family, even if you have like a baseball game to go play with your friends, it does not really matter. Your job is to be an employee and to help out the team. And that's a little unsubtle. Like, there's definitely more nuance to it than just that. But that's something a lot of Americans really struggle with. And so, I'm very lucky that the school I work for does not have that culture. The culture is definitely, we want you to have a life outside of work. We're not exactly interested in working you until you burn out, which it seems is a very common experience here that people just don't talk about. Actually, yesterday I was reading about alcoholism stats in Japan, because boy howdy, people drink a lot here. And there's a fascinating article on how, generally speaking, there is no concept of alcoholism in Japan. It's just seen as what people do to blow off steam, because in Japanese culture, you're allowed to act in kind of ridiculous ways while being drunk with no socially negative responses. And that's very different from the US, right? In the US, if you act like a jackass while being drunk, people will say, I don't want to hang out with you, I don't like this anymore. Now, that said, Japanese people tend not to get violent or loud or cruel. It's just the socially expected way to have a good time is you have drinks, get blackout drunk, in fact, and pass out on the street, but you feel good for a while. Which, again, from American perspective, I say, that's alcoholism, that's a terrible thing. But it's just so different. It's just so different here in so many ways. This looks ridiculous. I can't imagine ever having an on-ramp like this, but it will function, and that is the case. So finally, after a while on stream today, we have discovered that this area is connected. And I want it to be a bedroom community, as I said. So I want to begin building this up with more and more houses, and I wish I had a grocery store. Turns out your family is a lot similar to Japanese drinking culture. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Just it's the done thing instead of the unhealthy thing. So as many of you know, Japanese people are some of the longest lived in the world. A whole bunch of reasons for that. I'm so surprised to hear that though, when so many of the Japanese people I know, including my students, I'll ask them, what are you doing this weekend? And they'll say, getting profoundly drunk. and that's not just me. I'm fairly casual with the students. They will say this directly to administrators, to the bosses. It's just not considered a social faux pas to say, my hobby is alcoholism, which is so different. It's so different. I wonder if I'll ever stop being surprised by the differences here. I sincerely doubt it, but we'll see. What I'm trying to do in this area, which we still haven't named, the streets are not named. That's right, we've gone to the place where the streets have no names. What I'm trying to do here is make an interesting looking community that is not just let's remove all the trees. That is not just flat emptiness. So little open spots like this, but I'd also like to have small side streets that lead to just one house. Back in grad school, one of my professors had built his own house outside of town, and yeah, to get out there, you had to go this tiny little road, which couldn't fit 2 cars on at once. I realize I'm now speaking of 2 professors. They had the same life. But I remember one time, there's this terrible storm. It was the one that knocked out power for 2 or 3 days. And it was impossible for him to get into or out of town. Because his little tiny road, which was, again, dirt basically, I think it was dirt, maybe gravel, was covered by trees. And you couldn't drive around the trees, you couldn't pick up the trees. There were these giant monstrosity trees that had been knocked over, and he was just stuck in the woods. And luckily he was the kind of person who could tolerate that. And Brady, this is TA, not DA, TA. Yeah, he was okay with it, but it was a recognition for me of, if you build out in the woods, it's entirely possible that you will be disconnected for a very long time. And I think for some of these folks, my professors, they're perfectly fine with that. They just want to be left alone, in his case, with his port and his books. Oh man, why is alcoholism the topic of the day? Yeah, it was so strange. This professor would invite me over. He liked me quite a bit. We had very good conversations about the world and thought and so on. And while we'd be talking, he would just sit there and glug. And eventually he would pass out in his easy chair or get close enough to it that his wife would say, it's getting a little bit late. It was good seeing you, Resorty. I think TA really had a good time also, and come by again sometime. And it was so I was embarrassed for him in some way, and yeah, it was a weird experience that I loved the guy, but I hated that part of the night every time. Yeah, I think that's that. A little winding road here. Not super deep in the forest. I wish we had more rustic buildings as opposed to just the standard ones. But hopefully the building that comes in here is somewhat rustic, or at least sensibly rustic out there. You can see Old Moose stuck in the woods. Old Moose is happiest in the woods. He has talked about wanting to return to monkey, as the phrase has it. He would never use that phrase, but he talks about how great it would be to be self-sufficient in the woods. Old Moose and the Unabomber have some overlap. He occasionally advocates violence, but only in a joking kind of way. But he would be so happy just to live in a shack in the middle of nowhere and hunt and grow things and just not have to deal with all of this. And I get that. I definitely get that. Ame, it was so cool hanging out with you today. I know you said it was 1 a.m. when the stream started. I know it's the case that it was very late for you, so thanks for hanging out. I'm glad the stream was engaging enough with our blather for you to hang out. So have a good night, sleep well, and thank you. Thank you all for being here. Okay, so with that made, let's do a couple more of those, and then we'll make a kind of larger, larger suburb area here, I think. And I don't want them all to look just like this. I want to have a little bit of personality in the different areas. They are probably going to be mostly / all single family homes, which are still the highest of high demand for, unfortunately. Okay, I always worry that while I'm doing this kind of focused building and the game is not paused, I always worry a little bit that the entire city may be burning down. It's a real possibility. And if it does, that's okay. We'll build on the ashes. We'll find a way to rise again like the phoenix. Insert your favorite references here. Okay. The city services for the small village are all over in what is called the city. And so I do wonder if we'll need to find a way to get better service out here. Oh, for one, I have done a horrible job of expanding the Wi-Fi. I've done a genuinely awful idea. Namely, I forgot about it entirely. And so let's go ahead and do that once this road is made and the one house at the end is made. I'm hoping that eventually we don't have to say, I gotta pack in more folks. Time to cut down the forest entirely and make it into little houses that will last for only 30 years and then will never ever be used again. Because the Japanese folks would like to have brand new and clean things. The old is dirty when it comes to houses. Someone else has lived there. There you go. In that I haven't been building out at all my internet, I'm qualified to work for any US ISP. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I do my best to model what it is to be a city manager. Now, as I said at the beginning, as I said on Discord today, it is the case that today's our last day of this playthrough. We're not going to finish in any meaningful sense. We're just going to build for a while and then stop. On Monday, we're playing Crusader Kings 3. As of right now, I'm very much intending at some point to come back to this game. I would really, really like to do so because I just have a ton of fun with it. I think it's a game that is worth playing. I think it's a game that, a game that makes me happy to play, in fact. And it's a good thing for me. So if you're only here for City Skylines, I apologize a little bit, and thanks. And Brady, go in the garage gym, have a good weekend. And Brady, I'm not sure I've told you, go away, but I've been going to the gym 6 days a week for the past 3 months. I missed one day or 2 days so far, and so I've been doing my lifts like you taught me. Yeah, back in grad school, Embry was inspiration in so many ways. I mentioned yesterday, like serious students in a way that I did not know how to be sometimes. And he also took me to the gym and showed me how to do squats and deadlifts and all the rest. And he'd been lifting since like childhood, played football and so on. Was one of those jocks, and I was a band kid. So everything I know about lifting I learned from M. Brady, and that means if I get hurt ever, it is his fault entirely. He is just to blame. I look forward to suing him for negligence if ever I hurt myself even a little bit. Okay, let's connect these things, and then I said I was going to do something after I connected these things. It was, the internet throughout the rest of the town, the city, the county. All right. I also haven't looked in a while to see how bad our income levels are. Hope they're better than they were. Makes for good quality of life and totally your fault. That's right. I mean, I still remember the first time Brady and I ever worked out together. And Brady made a nice little, easy CrossFit for me. And it was so unbelievably hard. Because then Brady assumed a certain level of, physical coordination and, physical coordination and comfort in one's own body and stamina that I did not have. Because to that point, I spent my entire life sitting and playing video games and reading books and barely walking sometimes. So I needed not just the easy beginning, but the very, very, very easy beginning. So we're gonna put some Wi-Fi across the rest of the city. We don't have a mail delivery also. We should definitely get that going. And then we'll come back over here and build some more houses, which is what people truly want. All right, how are we doing economically? Worse again. Yeah, truly worse again. Every single time we look here, it's negative 269, 268, 280. It just gets worse and worse and worse every time. Now, when it comes to our services, namely electricity, we're exporting 392,000 and we're getting 60,000. which means despite the fact that we're exporting so very, very, very much, like scads of money coming in, we are still losing money on the electricity setup. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut back on the budget just a wee little bit. Just a wee little bit. Now that makes us positive on this side. And I'll be very curious to see if we run out of electricity. But as of right now, we are now net positive on electricity. I just don't know, my dudes. I don't know. Things seem pretty bad. Services in this economy, I don't know. Yeah, our budget for water is only 64%, and we're losing $131,000 dues and expenses. So my sense is, and like I understand that infrastructure and services are not profit-making endeavors. I understand we will have some loss on it. It should be made up for in part by taxation. We're not a business, we're a city. But I think for me, this is the real moment of, oh boy, it is not possible to build the kind of city we're building without really cheesing electricity selling. Because yeah, in expanding out, we are somewhat struggling with the business of how do we support the faraway people. That's unfortunate, because I'm really enjoying the playthrough, but if I can't make it financially viable, it's be kind of annoying. That's okay though. As we did that, next up the Wi-Fi portion of the story, and then mail after that. So the people out here do not have any way of connecting to the internets. Now I do not know if this just makes people happier for having it, or if instead it'll cause them to like pay for the Wi-Fi. Alright, because that's what I really want is just some user fees. Need to get the NHK going, so you're legally mandated to buy the service. Oh, actually, a few days ago, for the first time ever, the Japanese public broadcaster, which is serviced by fees that you are legally required to pay, which is to say their taxes, but not collected to the government. For the first time ever, the NHK has sued 2 people for non-payment of their NHK fees. And it's going to be so interesting to see this case play out, because it is something that very much confuses non-Japanese folks. It very much confuses them that if I do not use a service like the NHK, why would I ever pay for it? And that's interesting. Does the UK do something similar? So I know it's paid by fees also, the so-called TV license. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between UK on this one and Japan on this one. Other than, if you do not pay your NHK fee here, they go to your door over and over and over again and tell you, by the law here, you must pay this. And it will come back to your home again and again and again. And if you say the standard line, which is "Watashi wa tabamase nihongo," attempting to say, I like to eat. Oh, that's at the end of that. I like to speak Japanese. You instead say, I want to eat Japanese, or I like to eat Japanese people, or I'm going to eat Japanese people, something like that. Then you say that, like, oh, scary American. They will bring back someone who speaks English and say, it is the case that you must pay this. And if you call the police will say, what do you mean harassment? You haven't paid your bill. Pay your bill. To the point that in many Japanese authors who write for the West, most notably Murakami, the never-ceasing Japanese NHK person, man usually, is a villain character or a dystopian character, which is sure something. Yeah, the one way you can get the NHK person to stop coming to your house is if they let you if you let them come in to your home and look for anything that could receive the NHK symbol, NHK signal. If you have genuinely nothing, which is say no television, no computer, no cell phone, your car is radio only, etc., 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 then they will say you are exempt from the fee. And they might come back later to check again, which again, to Americans, no, this is my freedom. To Japanese folks, why are you trying to avoid paying for the thing that you can use? You are required to do it. Just follow the rules. It's so different. Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. I'm very privileged not to have to worry about every penny in my life. I can imagine it being a charge if people are paid somewhat less. And that's very sad. The way some people deal with this is to hide or give to a friend all of their computers, all of their televisions, all of everything in order to have their inspection pass, but they'll come back and you get caught. All right, friends, time for an ad break. Been live for another hour or so. Let's do a little crossword puzzle, our very first crossword puzzle of the day, and we will most certainly get back to our video game in 3 minutes' time. Thanks to those of you who watch the ads. Thanks to those of you who hang out and have a good time with me, hopefully. Absolutely lovely to spend time with you. We're sitting on the Tuesday puzzle, incomplete. I believe we haven't done the Wednesday puzzle either. Oh, maybe we did the Wednesday puzzle, but not the Thursday. This is Wednesday. That's done, thank goodness. The Thursday is not completed. Which means today we're going to do the Friday puzzle and then attempt to dig ourselves out of the terrible hole we've created. We currently have sitting open 3 Mondays, 2 Tuesdays, and 1 Thursday. What happened? I took shorter streams this week and then spent way too much time blathering instead of solving crossword puzzles. So on my Wednesday, the Tuesday puzzle day, I talked through multiple breaks instead of playing crossword. So like right now, for example, I should be reading out letter after epsilon. I'm sure many of you are screaming at your computer right now. I don't recall, honestly. Don't recall exactly. Instead, I just like blah, 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 blah. That's how it goes. All right. 4-letter Greek letters. 4-letter Greek letters, sure. Beta, obviously. Beta, those. Alpha, beta, of course. It's alphabets. Chi is 3. They're all 3. Or 5, like omega and gamma and lambda. I feel like a dum-dum right now. Just not sure. Give the nod. Approve, choose, select, okay. A Spanish smooch, it's Beto. Gelatinous substance in a mold test kit. An agar, I believe? Agar, I think. Runway site. Well, a plane, a model. Unfortunately, model and plane both have similar letters. Do they share any? Planemodel. They do share letters, but not in the same slots, unfortunately. All right. Workers leaving the Lumiere factory in... I don't know. Lumiere is French, I assume, so maybe it's Paris? Maybe it's Nice? It's a down right now. Lyon. Anti-racist initialism. Black Lives Matter. Did I learn Castilian Spanish? No. I learned Mexican Spanish, in fact. That said, because it's the exact same reason I say Z instead of Z. I just find it delightful to give alternate pronunciations, just so people go, wait, huh? What was that? But yeah, I attempt to speak Castilian regularly to have the fun little slides and lisps and so on. I do not know why I do that. It's probably Lyon here. But it's one of my idiosyncrasies. And I assume that people often go, oh, you don't know how to say words. You're a big dum-dum, which might be true. But in the same way, like, back when we were playing a lot of, like, Dungeons & Dragons fantasy kind of games, like Dark Souls, I guess, I would regularly say sword for sword, sword, or even S-word. And it makes me laugh. And I realize that it is not exactly funny, but I like saying weird words. There's a philosopher named Robert Brandom. I've talked about him before. He has a giant beard, and he regularly talks about what does the word mean in your mouth versus what does the word mean in my mouth. Trying to get into a sense of differences in interpretation, differences in denotation, etc. They're very, very hard to deal with in philosophy of language. And so the first time I heard him say this, I knew a class of years ago. First time I heard him say this, I had a moment of, wait, what does the word feel like in my mouth? Like the production of a word is a moving of muscles and air, etc., etc. But if you're attentive to it, you can feel it happening. It's so automatic, and we're trained to ignore it because in speaking, you're meant to focus on the flow of the words, not the flow of the muscles, and so on. There's a part where like one says, you're now consciously breathing, right? That kind of thing. And ever since I had that realization that words feel like something, I began saying, it feels slightly different if I pronounce it differently. So Z versus Z. I like the difference in feeling. And so it's not really the cultural thing. It is very, very much just, I like eating my words. Like, I don't know how to even explain it entirely, but it just feels good to have different modes of expressing the same thing. Yeah, I don't know if it's a common experience. Robert Brandom wasn't familiar going on the lecture list. So Brandom is very, very hard stuff. If you want, I can send you a tiny little video over on Discord of here's some Brandom stuff that will be approachable. But Brandom kind of sort of assumes that you know all of Hegel and the vast majority of Kant. He is one of those philosophers who is writing for philosophers and writing for history. He is the only person I've ever heard say, I believe that I am a world historical figure. I believe that I am pushing human thought in a new direction. And this is after a few drinks, so it possibly didn't mean it, but if anyone else said it, I would think to myself, what arrogance. There's no higher compliment to pay yourself than that I matter in the way Napoleon mattered, right? That kind of thing. But he has a couple of talks that are a little bit down and maybe approachable. That said, if you know your Kant, if you know your Hegel, more power to you. But he has some really cool ideas about how language and meaning are always irreducibly social. Come out of Wittgenstein and so on. But there's a lot there. So if nothing else, you can enjoy watching the man with his giant beard bouncing along. And he has some very cute examples. He talks a lot about parrots and a lot about thermostats and so on. And to what degree do they mean anything when they say and when they express. And yeah. Once again, friends, I've managed to talk my way through a whole crossword puzzle. This is a problem. If I tell people that if they subscribe, they'll get access to the crossword puzzle solving, and in fact, all they get is access to the crossword puzzle looking, I'm an absolute liar. Sorry. I gotta stay a little more focused on what I'm doing. This past week, probably because classes have not gone terribly well, I've been doing so much blathering along instead of playing the games. And it's fine. It's good. It's just different than usual, I've noticed. Did we build the I built the building of the building of the network out here. Is there anywhere else that's not being covered by our good friend the internet right now? Outbuildings there, that's okay. Oh boy. Industrial Villa out here needs some help also. This is the crematorium. I'm gonna go ahead and put my building just on past that. Cool. Let's try to line it up if we can. I don't want to put it... Oh, it snapped again. Darn, you're snapping. It's going to be easier if we extend this first and then come back around. Hello, Klaus. Do you happen to know the magnitude of the earthquake that happened on stream this week? Apparently you had a 4.0 nearby here a couple hours ago that you did not feel your shopping. Yeah, I believe the earthquake we had on stream yesterday, day before, was a 4.7. It was in Kanagawa, which is not super nearby, but is not super far away either. But a 4.7 there, we felt here well enough that it shook the camera, shook the desk, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, I'm always glad that I can share with you people, look, an earthquake. Last night I looked at a couple of the, what was it suggested? Ways of setting up an amateur seismograph. So we can like have a camera turn on and look, the world is shaking. Here's how much it's shaking. Here's what I'm feeling right now. As opposed to me trying to describe the very, very strange experience of, the world is moving and I have not willed it. So, hey, Rainer, it's good seeing you. I think you said a nice thing a bit ago. Good seeing you, my friend. Right. Masked once more. Masked once more. I have wondered, as I get older, will the stream become increasingly blatherific? And I suspect the answer is yes. Not that I necessarily want it to be, not that I will it to be, but I expect it's my way of dealing with the sort of difficulty that a lot of older folks have, of feeling disconnected and out of the loop and lonely, honestly. And so I suspect there will be increasing amounts of that if I'm still streaming when I'm in my retired years, especially. Now, hopefully noms are doing cool stuff and seeing the world then. But at the same time, I hope also we're on the day-to-day period here. I can still check in. Who knows? Yeah, I mean the increase in the age of streamers. Like, of course, there'll always be new people coming in. But my sense is right now there's a huge mass of streamers who are 20s, 30s, 40s. Going up, it will continue going longer and longer. I've heard 25 years until I'm retired. No, that's absolutely right. I don't know. I always think about old age. Right? There are some thinkers who would argue that the philosophers spend too much time on death, which might be true. But what? Socrates tells us that the aim of thought is to prepare for death. And he means this in a way I don't mean it. But yeah, my sense is that, I always want to think about, will I still be streaming when I'm 45? Will I still be streaming when I'm 55? Will streaming still be a thing then? This might be me saying like, I enjoy sending Morse code. Will I still be sending Morse code when I'm 65 years old? I hope so. You always felt that philosophers spend too much time on philosophy. Yeah, the philosopher Hume has a cute little phrase where he says, if you must do your philosophy, but as you do your philosophy, be always a man. Right, the attempt to understand the rest of life too. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do that sometimes. As I said before, what you see is what you get here. And so, when I open my mouth and ideas come pouring out, they're gonna be the ideas that are my ideas, and these are always tinged in the direction of perhaps excessive thought, but can't fix that now. A little bit too old. If I were to fix it now, I'd have to go to a Buddhist temple every day and attempt to meditate and have an openness of mind, which I think is a good thing. Right? I think it's a good thing that one can do that at times. But at this point, I need to continue chit chat in the way I can. I do wonder if I tried to meditate more and have placidity. Placidity? Sure, why not? Comcast Court, good. If I were to do that, would I be able to stream anymore? I'd have to then turn myself into something different. In the worst case would be, friends, we are live today again with City Skylines. Today we think together. I hope you're well. Namaste, right? Now that's not Buddhist, of course, but that kind of attitude. That said, I know for the Buddhists, at least in a couple traditions, the greatest kind of interaction in the world is laughter, is joy. And I think that's something I could definitely learn. Unfortunately, it run aground or against basically everything I've ever done. So that's how it goes. All right. The thing to worry about is what happens if you have not 100 or 150 people, but instead 500, 600, or 800 people. I'm not sure the stream will ever grow that way. I think the particular way in which I stream is effective when people feel heard and engaged with. And so I think we're probably limited by that. I said, yeah. I mean, I worried about this problem of growth when I had 5 viewers, when I had 10 viewers.
Degrowth.
Degrowth indeed. Yeah, we're the problem of what happens when I get to 15 viewers. Will it lead to people abandoning the stream because they're not happy? We'll never grow past 50, and these things just keep growing in various ways. So it's in my mind. Hello, Noms.
I would like to share with you some news that I hope might make you feel better about your classes this week.
Please share with me your news.
I was talking to our friends who live in Ohio.
Yes.
Because one of them sent me a picture of a margarita. And then she said that her husband also had a margarita and he instantly chugged it down because he was so frustrated from campus. And I said, oh, what has happened?
Yeah.
So this friend of ours teaches philosophy classes as well. And in his business ethics class, he was trying to talk about animal rights.
Yeah.
And his students were not hearing it. And they were just saying, no, it's not natural. Things just eat things. Things kill things.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, I think this is usually a common part of the class. Anytime I teach questions of how we treat animals, there's always this like natural view that says nature is red in tooth and claw, so we should be too. But there are a lot of good arguments against that. They usually shut them down.
But I think what's interesting is his students too are saying,
Yeah.
we don't really have a choice in how we behave.
I see.
This is just how the world is.
Yeah. I mean, that does help a little bit. I knew it's the case that lots of, I've lost one of my cities incidentally, so I'm trying to figure out where the so-called
there's one, and there's one.
Yeah, but where's the bedroom community? I started a bedroom community
Oh dear.
in the forest, like TA's.
There's a little bit of thing over to the right. Did I see some roads over here? Nope.
That's an interchange.
Over there to the right.
Hey, we found it. I haven't labeled it as the issue, and so it doesn't pop out terribly well.
It looks like where I used to live.
Absolutely right. That's actually what I was thinking of as I built it. But
Snob Hill.
absolutely right. Yeah. No, I really appreciate that.
I'm sorry that somebody else is also
No.
not having a great time.
No,
with it.
I mean it's important to me to know that kind of thing. And of course, it's true. I never believe I'm alone in my challenges of teaching. It's just I was going to just stand there and deal with it, and I felt pretty bad. Hate to say with animal rights is complicated. I mean, I think every issue is complicated, right? If we say that everything's obviously just what it ought to be, then what's the point of teaching and thinking together? I would just like it to be a complicated issue as opposed to we can dismiss anyone else's arguments because obviously, whatever it happens to be, which is occasionally I feel the students have been here recently, just kind of in curiosity. And I think
My friend did ask whether it was Americans or Japanese that were behaving like
Americans and non-Japanese. The Japanese folks just shut down entirely.
Yeah, that's kind of what I told her. I said, I suspect it's Americans. The Japanese are pretty quiet.
Yeah, I had a Chinese student who was very aggressive with me yesterday, and that's been part of the issue. But whatever, it's fine. Whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine. Continuing this beautiful street along the way. Now that we're out here, I think we're gonna.
Oh my.
Is it nice?
It's curvy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like the street. Yeah, I know that street. I'm not imagining that you're actually making my old neighborhood. By my old neighborhood, you would go in and there was like a little thing and it went curved around and it ended.
Yeah. I'm trying to do some of that.
There was not a cul-de-sac at the end either. It just ended.
Absolutely. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been trying to make more curvy streets, curvy lanes, and so on. So I think they look better. And they make me feel more freedom as I create the world.
And people can't drive as fast.
That's the important. I need to put some. And you can put speed bumps in the game if you want to.
It's called Magnolia, even.
It is for right now. We may change the names eventually.
There was a Magnolia in that neighborhood, I think.
I mean, do you want me to go ahead and call this place?
Snob Hill.
Do you want me to call this place the name of the place where you lived, or
No.
Okay?
Snob Hill.
It's not super fancy. It's just people living out in the woods. I guess they have big property out here, and they got some space and not jammed in with the neighbors. So that's a kind of privilege, I suppose.
Yeah, I had a whole acre.
You had a whole acre that you had to.
Whole acre.
You had to mow. Yeah.
Sure.
Of course, the worst of all possible situations. Mowing is not fun. Okay. unless you have a rider and you're not afraid of the riding mower, in which case it could be fun possibly.
It was podcast listening time.
Absolutely. Like I said previously, when I do a riding mower, I always worry about it tipping over, even if I'm not on that much of a grade. Just the moment it feels like, the world is no longer flat. I struggle.
I think I felt like that too, but then I got used to it and I figured out how to brace my feet so it didn't feel bad, because I think I would look at it when I wasn't on it, if somebody else were riding it or something, right? I would look at it and I'm like, oh, that's not that much.
Yeah.
It just feels like a lot. And
so
I figured out that I just had to orient myself to it.
You just had to buck up, Buttercup.
I did tip myself on a tractor the first time I drove one. But I'm not like, but you would think that would have turned me off of riders, but I'm okay on that.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Shoot. Why is the highway? So this part should be a highway because it leads to the highway. Did I make it 100 kilometers an hour is not what I meant to have there. So it's supposed to be a normal road instead. Let's go ahead and fix that one straight away. I don't mind it being a 4-lane road. We'll do 2-lane road right now and see what changes. Hey! This explains all the problems I've had with placement. There we go. And so now being upgraded will mean that the power and so on comes on through. Everything else comes on through also. We're good to go. Hey, Mighty Matty. Good seeing you. I know you've been streaming again. In a different way, I do believe. But good to see you sincerely, my friend. Not a zilch. I'm glad that you always find a little laugh when I, as always, misplace something in the most obvious of ways. It happened yesterday with something. I can't remember what it is. Something just didn't go terribly well. Yeah. Nam, are you here to send a message in general, other than just, I'm not alone in this world anymore?
I'm going now.
You're leaving now.
I'm going Shopifying now.
That's lovely. Is it time for a quick round of hug bears? I would like to give you a hug. Is that okay?
Oh, okay.
If you want to say no, that's fine too.
Fine.
All right, so we mute the mic. Public displays of affection. I apologize for.
I thought we were actually gonna do hug bears.
No.
I was like, okay.
People here do not know what hug bears really are. I'll have to show them sometime. Goodbye, Noms.
Goodbye.
Appreciate you. Any sense how long you'll be gone?
Like an hour.
All right, cool. Hope it goes well. Yeah, see you then.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Noms. You want to know what hug bears are? Okay.
I bring you hug bears.
Thank you, Noms. Thank you, Noms. I sort of still playing the game. Just today's a little bit all over the place. The demand for single-family houses unabated. See, Noms. All right, so as you recall, back when Noms and I first moved to Japan, there was a period where I went back to the U.S. to sell the house and to get rid of all of our things because we couldn't bring them all to Japan. We weren't going back anytime soon, and Noms, while she was here by herself, began to acquire many of the things that would go in our house. So when I came back, it'd be a little bit more filled out, and we'd have a bed and so on, as opposed to sleeping on the floor for a while as we did. Very uncomfortable. And one thing she got was a little mug for our bathroom.
It was 100 yen.
100 yen mug for our bathroom. We store the toothpaste and the toothbrushes, and one could presumably use it to take a sip of water if you want to, but we tend not to because it's kind of gross in there with a toothpaste. It's what it is. And the mug says, hug. And they are two little bears. And there was one night when we were talking on Zoom, I guess, back then, when I was on the other side of the world, and Nam showed me hug bears. And she said, this is us. Look, we hug. And we love the way in which the hug bears stare out. And now their bodies are kind of huge, and so it's difficult for them to get nice and close. And so, are you okay with the rest of the story?
Okay.
Okay, so every single night, I've mentioned before we do toothbrush time, every single night, the whole routine is this. So I go into the bathroom first, I wet the toothbrushes, and I put the toothpaste on. Nam then comes in, and I go tink with the toothbrushes, like we're having a champagne toast. Tink! I give it to you, and we both have our toothpaste brushes, and we put them in our mouth, and then we hold each other. Hug bears. Every single night, we do hug bears, staring into the mirror and smile at each other. And it is one of those routines that I think just works really, really well for us. Because kind of an intentional setting aside of like, we care about each other. And that's been good. That's been good. As I mentioned before, Noms is incredibly busy. But I appreciate that you've always set aside time for hug bears and toothbrushing and all that. So thank you. Thank you. There you go. That's a real thing I do, a real fact of the world. And thank you for taking this very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There's a little bit of behind the scenes resorty stuff. Yeah, it's what it is. It is what it is. All right. I do wonder what portion of the community just unfollowed, unsubscribed. Ugh. Real sentiment on stream, not just blathering on about this and that. Yeah. I see a demand for more industry. Let's go work on that real quick, and we'll come back to the suburban network here. So it's super cute. You love it. Yeah, I figure anyone who likes me, not just the game, but me instead, will be totally cool with it. But I could imagine some people like, nope. My cold, dead heart wants no part of this, thank you. I would like to connect this road here with this road here. Also, we're seeing a bunch of issues with people need college educations. And so at some point, I'm not sure when, I sure would like to begin to create that. This is the mine area. We need a name for the mine area. So friends, this is a coal mine. Any particular title you'd like, anything you want to call this place, we'll make the name of the city or the roads based on it. It's not going to be the world's largest area. It is just a little town of industry. We could just call it industry. I know there are some cities in some states with names like that. MRBOOBG. Those are some nice letters. Mr. Bo-Obg? I don't know if I'm supposed to spell it out, but thank you for the generosity in the follow, and glad you're enjoying hanging out with us today. Coley McCoalface. Banned. So part of me likes calling it Sycamore Grove, knowing that we've cut down literally every tree in the area. Yes, remember what was here once upon a time. Call it Not Yours. Call it Cool Mine. Pennsylvania Coal. Coal Bears. This will make absolutely no sense to me once we come back to the game in the future, but for the moment it feels right. Good old Coal Bears. Alright, so I think they're saying no workers at all because it's not attached to anything else. So let's work on getting it somewhat attached. We could put housing in this area. I kind of want to do so because we do need more housing, as always. And so we're going to have some job creation and house creation and so on. This is just a gravel road, which feels appropriate for coal mining, but let's see what we can put together past that. Hopefully. Boyce, thank you for the follow also. Really appreciate that a whole bunch. That one didn't pop up for some reason, but Boyce, good to see you indeed. So, 2-lane road. I want 2-lane road with no parking. I think I can make a 2-lane highway here. Just the basic highway that we will, we'll then turn into smaller roads off the side. Then all the way there. We really could just do a big old straight line, call it rural fun, and jam on in here. Behold, an intersection of highway and highway to an area that should not have a lot of driving. It's a stop sign or no? Or stop light or no? No, it's not. Cool. All right, so we're going in the direction of Coal Bears. And I'd like to, they're so bad at crossing the street. They're so unbelievably bad. I need a speed limit that lowers it just a little bit while cutting through. Because having to stop at every single lane is kind of silly. I don't think there's a way to lower speed limits yet. But we'll look in just a moment. All right, so. I am needing to name this thing as something to do with going towards coal. what's it called? Like the shaft? Yeah, I think there's mining shafts also. That's a complicated man, and nobody understand him but his woman. Shaft. Good. This is very, very far away, but again, it feels appropriate for the places I've lived in the past. They go to where the coal is, as opposed to thinking too hard about how aesthetic it is. Just long, long, long country roads taking me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, country roads take me home. John Denver is so, so popular here in a way that I have no idea what to say about, unfortunately. Now, these highways don't throw housing, even though I'm well aware of places in the US where rural roads often have some kind of housing along them. Usually rural routes. They're back a little bit, but not too far. I guess we do gravel roads off of it. Because I just don't want to do standard city roads. That feels totally inappropriate for this area out here. Is there a way making a 2-lane road that does not have parking availability? There's no parking allowed. A wider than normal sidewalk. I wonder if the big sidewalk goes into the street to consume the parking, or out onto the ground to consume the zoning. Yeah, I wish it said directly parking disallowed in these areas. But it's confused. Just confused. I was going to make a street and see what happens. Because if it is possible to just do the 2-lane street over here, I don't mind that at all. But it needs to not allow parking on it. So let's see what happens. It's about this lane at the side on each side. So parking tools, wider sidewalk, boop. It does come into the road on one side, I think. But not on the... Oh, you have to do both sides. Aha! We did it! This is it indeed. We did it, friend. Look at that. Look at that. So you had to build the other portion first, and then... build the portion first, and then modify it to this kind of thing. Awesome. Hello, Shingard. That's right. Wrexham AFC, not Manchester United. Appreciate you knowing a good thing when you see it, my friend. So let's make the road and then we'll come back and modify it. What did I say here? I'd like it to be, kind of apartment building in some places, kind of single family home in some places. I just don't want it to be immediately off of the road there. Man, and as I'm building, I keep thinking, oh, you know what? This is economically not the best of choices. Like, I'm not really thinking about running a city budget to the point that maybe I should be playing with infinite money mode. Like, it is clearly the case that I'm just building what feels nice to build, which I'm really enjoying. But at the same time, I do kind of sort of wonder. Yeah, imagine if there were, rural roads that didn't have to use parking, didn't have to use big sidewalks to limit parking on the street. Because there are lots of places where you have like a fence right against the road, where people live back a little bit, but you can't park on them. So we'll have rural living DLC at some point, I'm sure. Never let an opportunity for a good DLC go to waste. Both sides, both sides. Hey, Nixon, how's it going, friend? Okay. That was kind of nice. All right, then off of that again, we're going to have one area that's all apartment buildings all the time, and one area that is single-family homes once more, of course. And I'm totally okay with people parking on the street in the single-family home area. There won't be too many people doing so, I believe. And we're imagining that they're throwing up there, that's right, vomiting everywhere, throwing up the roads or housing very quickly just to jam as many people as possible. These are going to look like city houses, I guarantee it, but we just won't look too close at any point. Also, I don't know why this is not quite abut the road that's right here. If I remove this, would it? It would. Now, how do we rethink this so that when I build a route this way, it doesn't consume this. Shannon, you loved watching Mullins' FA Cup Golden Boot run. Yeah, we talked about this the other day, but this past week, in the FA Cup, which is the least prestigious of the big competitions across the divisions in English football, Wrexham had been put up against a team called Port Vale, and Port Vale is from the league above them, right? So it's the kind of match that if it were first team versus first team, you'd assume that Wrexham would just lose. But given how the tournament's gone so far, the game didn't really matter to either team. And so, both teams started a very weakened squad. The Wrexham side had like literal children out there. Not quite, but people under the age of 21. I think one guy was like 18, just barely. And one guy, his very first play ever, a guy named, D. Davies. I can't remember what the D is, but D. Davies. First ever game in the professional leagues. And Port Vale, the other team, went up 1-0. And for the first 65 minutes, I guess the first 45 minutes, the Wrexham squad looked genuinely terrible because it was youngsters and then a few B team players who are adults but don't play as well as the rest of the players. And then after halftime, things got a little bit better. But in the 65th minute, the manager made a move, and the move was, what happens if we bring in 3 of our very best players from the senior team? And holy cow, it was night and day. It was absolutely absurd how much better the Wrexham squad got, with 3 players out of the 11 being first team players. And one of them, Paul Mullen, who is the big superstar of the team, scored a really, really beautiful goal. And I wish I could show it to you right now, but that would cause my stream to get a copyright hit possibly. I don't want to do that. And the other one, an Irish national player named James McLean, had an assist and a goal and shoved someone down. Those of you like hockey will know the Gordie Howe hat trick, which you have a goal, an assist, and get into a brawl. Hockey. We talked about a James McLean hat trick. You score a goal, you get an assist, and you manage to at least physically be aggressive towards one. Not an out-fight, but he did like 2-hand shove. Gordie Howe never did it. Oh, really, Maul? I know so little about hockey, but glad to hear that it is a known thing, not something people made up. The Gordie Howe hat trick. Ellison Dole, hello, my friend. Good to see you as always. All right, so if we're going out here and making apartment buildings, which is my current intention, and I don't want people parking on the street all that much, we should give them a parking lot as well. But giving a parking lot leads to need for more and more and more in the way of city services. I can't really afford that. If you didn't get a yellow card, it can't be a football hat trick. I don't remember if McLean got a yellow card for that shove. I think it happened off the ball and the ref may not have seen. I'm not sure on that. That said, next game, tonight, Gillingham, very excited, midnight go. The team is without 2 of their best players. Mullen and McLean played in the FA Cup game, in part because they're suspended for this next game because they got too many yellow cards. If you get more than 5 yellow cards, or if you get 5 yellow cards in the course of 19 matches, you then get suspended for a time because they don't want players who are never getting a red card, never getting set off, but are playing unfairly over the course of many matches. So that's how it goes. And so it'll be an interesting question because the combination of injuries as well as the suspensions, Wrexham actually does not have a full squad available. So they're going to have to play a weakened team and then play some B League people or B team people on the bench and then youth players also. So a full team is what? 11 plus 7, I believe. So 18. And I think they have currently 15 senior players available. A lot of people are injured. It might be a rough night. We'll see. The Wrexham pick up a good former PL keeper. So it's not. So yes, last year, the thing that made them promoted. Sorry for spoilers on Welcome to Wrexham season 2. The thing that made them promoted was the work of a man named Ben Foster, who had played at the top level, and then came down because he believed in the project, and he claimed he was getting paid absolute peanuts to play. And Ben Foster had one amazing save that kind of made this season exactly what it meant to be, exactly perfect, all the rest. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But this season, Ben Foster agreed to sign on because he was so excited over the last victory. Things were amazing, going gangbusters. And then, his first match, he gave up, I think, 3 goals? His second match, he gave up 5 goals. This continued for, I think, the first 3, 4, 5 matches of the season. And then Foster retired, saying, I pushed it 1 year too long. I knew it was the case I was getting older. I knew it was the case that I'm slowing down. But when you're a player and you have this moment of, 2 years ago, I would have got that one. I'm letting the squad down. Then, in his view, it is time to retire. And he did. He did. And led to a slight crisis of who's going to play next. But we ended up bringing down on loan why is it not attaching? Bring down on loan a player who is currently signed to Arsenal, the big Premier team, who doesn't have a future in the Premier League. He's not quite reactive enough. He has a bit of lackadaisical play, but he is so good. And so there's tremendous hope in the Wrexham fandom. Why is this not working? There's tremendous hope in the Wrexham fandom that they'll be able to sign him long term. Because he's the kind of keeper that will be, I'm not going to say a huge star someday, but a kind of keeper that'll be able to really help the team long term. And I love that. I think it's very exciting rather. So what I'm seeing here is that this wire may also be unpowered. It's not. So why is the electricity not going this way? Like, it's not lighting up at all. It's possible I've attached the wrong kind of wire. I think that's not true, though. Let's see if we can connect it and see. You are showing connection or no? It's so hard to tell. This is the one thing which is different in the game, is electricity would connect a little faster. There we go. We got it. I have no idea what the problem was. It's possible when trying to attach over in this corner, it was consistently attaching to the house instead of the power cable. That said, surprisingly, it looks like power doesn't run to the end. It only goes to what's drawing it. But adding in the power line that was live didn't cause interaction here. I'm not sure. Most often you fail to attach, it's so hard to tell. Yeah, it's just like the question of three-dimensionality in general, where how on earth do you display three-dimensionality when you can rotate the game? And also, it's a 2D-ish surface, right? So it's rough, but I'm glad it worked eventually. Hey, how's it going, Signora? Welcome in, my friend. Maybe we'll get Matt Turner. Yeah, I don't know. I'm someone who doesn't try to get too deep in the weeds on, who are the possible people my team could sign, because then I get my hopes up. I get to believing that, maybe this year we'll get the greatest player of all time. And that's fine. I mean, that's fine and good, and maybe it's fun to hope and dream and imagine. But for me, at least, there's no point in getting my hopes up on, we're going to sign this amazing player, that amazing player, if ultimately it's unlikely to happen. I trust the team to do the scouting and recruiting. I trust the team to make it a good team for me to root for. When someone is being offered a contract, then I will definitely look into them and learn all about them if I can. Because as Nam said earlier, I've become a bit single-minded in my hobbies right now. Honestly, when I'm off stream, I'm very rarely playing video games right now. Instead, I'm either writing, which I'm very happy for, or I'm like researching more about the Wrexham Football Club, which is surely a healthy choice. surely a healthy choice. All right, over here we got some grocery stores that don't have enough customers. Like I said previously, I don't know if this is due to proximity or due to what exactly. I'll put additional homes here and hope that will bring more folks down here. I was hoping that the office buildings would lead to people like driving by and stopping in for a snack or a beverage or a piece of furniture on the way home. Oh, what a nice sofa. I said that. It's not my fault that you can't draw people into your showroom. It's not my fault that you're not profitable. It's your bad salesmanship. That's it. Is not enough customers still a bug? I actually don't know, Klaus. For a while there, we did not have the not enough customers popping up. And my hope beyond hope is that it is a bug. If it's not a bug, I actually do not know what to do. I'll just keep building more houses. Which really does seem like the solution to all life's problems. Just increase the tax base. And I believe it's the case, like, when we were first playing, it's like, I've got some trouble with my... my city. What I said, just bring more people in. Bring more people in. And after a time, it's like, I don't want to just pack more and more folks in. I want to make something beautiful. That's how the game is made. How the game is played. We still have lots of money, it's fine. Slowly going, but doing very well indeed. You saw a note about not enough customers in a recent patch? I'm sure. Also, I need to apologize a little bit. I feel like that recent football digression went on a little bit long. It's important to me this stream does not become like either you like follow sport or it's not worth watching, right? Because I don't want to alienate folks. Now that said, I talk about philosophy a lot. And it's the case that people will not necessarily follow it, but I'm excited about it. So hopefully you don't mind too much. But I do recognize that it's not a topic that's commonly discussed on streams like mine. Because often, like, the sports ball is seen as being unclean to the video gamers. But I just show up and talk about what I talk about. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I do me, man. Apparently there's too much traffic here for the single-family home people like it. Not sure. Do I have a taxi depot? I think I do, Mudslide. Now, maybe it's overly used. Yeah, currently 37 dispatched. We have a little dispatcher here. Not super efficient because there's no mail. I talked about this earlier and then completely forgot. We do not have a post office yet. I'm doing that right now or I will continue forgetting. Friends, the post office. So citizens can drop off mail at this office. I want to be in somewhere relatively central. Let's see. Will I knock down stores in order to get this thing? Relatively central. I guess inside the commercial district makes sense. So, nope. All a little bit large. Nope. How about here in the middle? Yep. All right. Those people don't like it, but everyone else loved it. That's good. Hey, Blah Boy. You love that you started watching Cities 2 streamers. Why is that, Blah? Yeah, what do you like about it? What is the draw of the Cities streamers? Found me and I'm the best. Blah Blah is very kind. Now, I'll be honest with you, and I hate to say it. I'm only a Cities Skylines streamer for a little bit. I'm someone who never marries a video game. Instead, I always, kind of sort of bounce around from game to game to game. And because of that, you're going to see a different game on this Monday. I thought roundabouts fix everything. So being entirely honest with you, I've been building outside of the main city. Blah Boy, we'll come back to cities at some point. But yeah, the kind of game we play here tend to be strategy and simulation. So if you like cities, you might like the other games we play. Crusader Kings 3 is on Monday, as a game in which you can roleplay yourself as a king of Europe or Africa or Persia, etc. And gosh, that's a lot of fun. So the bridge is 100% backed up. And I wonder if it's not possible for people to get through here because of the absolute ring around. And okay, I'm confused what's happening here. May I destroy a taxi? Is what's happening here that this person's waiting for a taxi and the minivan here isn't moving? No, this is not people are parked on the road. This is... I look at it and I feel myself wanting to cry, honestly. I feel so confused. Stinko excited for new CK3 DLC. Man, me too. Me too. Oh my goodness. Hey, movement! Movement! It's happening! It's happening! So I wonder what just happened. So yeah, the taxi managed to get into there. Did the minivan find its way forward or despawn? But look at this backup! Okay, so with movement again, my sense is we've dislodged the clot. It is now spinning in our bloodstream. We'll see what happens in a little while. I'm going to ignore this again, which is the best way of dealing with problems, just to absolutely ignore them. And then we will, we'll see how it's going in a little while. Now, a very long time ago, I said I would like to have a second major path into the city to take some burden off of this. And that would be a lovely, lovely thing. Also, though, we have a post office now, but we do not have any... we don't have any post office boxes around the city. The only place to drop off is here. Let's fix that. Why is my population declining? Okay, people are moving out. That is the issue. Why? Citizens move out if they can't find a job. The city doesn't offer activities they enjoy if they can't afford to live there. Probably high rents, which I'm really struggling right now. I think my economy is weak and terrible. It's weird though. The unemployment rate is only 0.4%. So one would imagine there are 5,000 jobs and 3,800 employed. Now, maybe the jobs are no good. Maybe because of the lack of customers, these people can't afford to hire anybody, and. I wonder if there are no customers because of the clot here. Did I build them too far away? Like, do I need to have... I just don't know. I just don't know. All right, I'm dealing with the mail service first because I'm aware of what I need to do with that. So, hello, mailboxes. I realize mailboxes, etc. All right, good. A mailbox. Woo! Some of my citizens are children or elderly. It's true. It's true. I'm not terribly concerned about. I'm not terribly concerned about why my seniors aren't working. The concern is much more, what can we do to help folks have a good life? That's the goal. A higher population density in the immediate area facing customer issue. Frankly, I hate that. Like, frankly, I really dislike that because I on the one hand, yes, I love that in Tokyo there are big apartments that go to the local convenience store to keep it afloat. But man, I'm trying to build a somewhat American big city where if you want to like go buy some, what's this? Neckbeard Mike's Comics. You want to buy a comic book, you don't walk across the street. Like, you hop in your little car and go over here. So maybe it's the case that the game just doesn't allow, encourage, I'm not sure what, crossing the neighborhood to have here. Yeah, alright. If it's not possible to make separate zones, then I'll just throw some apartment buildings in and help out. But that's a shame. That's really a shame, honestly. But we'll do that after the post office boxes. Alright. Cool. Cool. Now, these places are saying bad about mail. High mail accumulation. That's because this is the first time they're picking up any mail. So that will work its way out after a while. One by the welfare office. Good. Coming in nicely. Put one up in Robotnik Park so that our happy citizens can stop on their way to work and drop off the mail. Put one at the corner here. I don't know why. There it goes, though. Industrial zones don't have much, so I'll put it by the commercial area in the industrial zone, which is right here, I believe. And let's see. Steampunk Park. The office buildings need some too. We'll put it towards the center there. Excellent. I think we're pretty well covered, but we'll give one also to the school building there. Hey, Matt Maz. Thanks for the follow. How's it going, friend? And RCB, it's good seeing you. Thank you for the advice on what's wrong. I'm just feeling a little bit stroppy over it right now. Is that the word you use there? Stroppy? I know that's a common Britishism. Those of you who know the British, I would love to know if that's used correctly. The highway here is here. So if you come up the highway here, this is downtown in our very, very small outdoor city, or outpost, I suppose. They have mail service. Here's the mail. It never fails. Makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail mail. I was actually too old to watch Blue's Clues, but in my attempt to connect with the kids, I learned that because my students at one point were really, really, really into Blue's Clues when they were young. Instead of people being into and knowing about Mr. Rogers, blessed be his name, they were into instead Blue's Clues. This gets to the... Where is the highway? I wish the highway would be a little bit more obvious in this mode. Like, I understand that I didn't build it, so it's not really mine. I think it's here, correct? Yes, highway's there. It's kind of gray. You never like Mr. Rogers? What? Grubzilla, are you being like, let's be confrontational guy today? Let's say things that are false just for fun? Never liked Mr. Rogers. I mean, I don't want to say that everyone needs to like the same things, etc., etc., etc. But come on, what's wrong with Mr. Rogers? How could anyone dislike who's a relatively kindly man? How is this connected to the highway? Okay, here is how. Look at the cars! So, earlier I said this will work just fine. And it has for a very, very long time. But now a little bit backed up. We'll need to make a proper entryway to the to the highway, because yep, traffic, my best friend the traffic. Don't mind it so much. Like I said, handling the obvious small thing first, all the small things, true care, true dreams, etc. One up here in Industrialville as well, and hopefully people enjoy the mail. Now, my only big concern about the mail right now is, do we have enough mail trucks to go pick up all the mail? Also noticing it here, poorly served in our fancy living with the pop star. Had a few more there. Now, each one we build, I believe, has some upkeep also. It doesn't. It's a one-time spend, and then you're good to go. Grubly, lovely person who didn't enjoy this show. Fair enough. I don't want to, like, have a debate over aesthetics, certainly, or about taste. But I guess for me, at least, and really, this is just for me, I love the ways in which the Mr. Rogers Show, like, explored certain feelings that I was really struggling with as a kid. I didn't have the happiest of childhood homes, and so Mr. Rogers was definitely a place where I could like feel somewhat affirmed as a youngster in a way I really needed, and that was cool for me. Also, I like the sense of discovery. Like, hey, here's a neat little thing you may not have seen before. Here's how whatever's made, and yeah, it was good for me as a kid. Now, again, I'm not saying that everyone should be like me, certainly, but it was good for me, and as long as you're not saying he's a bad person, I'm okay. Those who will argue that Fred Rogers is a bad person, I just don't get it. Some of it is based on, like, I think a really cynical read. Years back, I had my students watch a small video from Fred Rogers about the importance of television, actually, as a way of helping people to connect and learn important lessons they weren't otherwise. It was a talk he gave to the Congress. And right after we watched this, I said, okay, students, what do you think? And one of my students immediately raised her hand and said, that man's a pedophile. Oh, man, why is it that in the US, there's a sense that if you care about children, especially if you're a man who cares about children, there must be something wrong with you. That really, really hurt me. And made me sad, I guess, but how it goes. All right, friends, another ad break's upon us. It's been an hour, and so let's play some more crossword. This time, I swear, we are focused on the crossword. We're not going to talk about anything else. Only crossword forever. See you in 3 minutes after the ad break. I appreciate it. Inopportune time to get a pimple. I mean, first date night, maybe. No, prom night. Something longer than the word night. I don't know what, though. Yeah, but sometime when you are unable to do, whatever. Grilled cheese relative to melt, like navy blazers or boat shoes. They're preppy, I believe. Vegetarianism. Vegetarianism, for example. It's a belief, it's an idea, it's a diet, I guess. I don't like the word diet for this, but we'll see how it goes. Pics are short about a steam bun that comes to life. This one made me very, very sad. Bow? Good. Some saxophones, they're altos, they're basses, they're sopranos, all the other, I think altos is likely what it's going to be. A player who might have an ace up their sleeve. I mean, literally a cheater. So, I don't know. Michael of Dora and the Lost City of Gold. I assume it's Michael Sarah, but I do not know. Sarah? I think Sarah. Makeup of some forests. Elms, oaks, etc. I put the S in, that's definitely right. I shouldn't say definitely, likely right. Heavy piece of gig gear, the amp, the ammo, the amp. Least honorable. Shadiest, evilest, who knows. Let's do the downs, try to build what we already have. Frank with the 1969 album Hot Rats, that's Frank Zappa. If you've never heard Frank Zappa talking about like free speech to the artist, it's a little bit obvious in retrospect, but for the time he was doing it, was like in the 1970s, late 60s maybe, it was so controversial. And it was, really him just talking about what it means to be an artist in society and how the controversy around him didn't need to be so. And holy cow, how did I forget about Zeta? Of course that's what comes after Epsilon. Resorty, you fool. One whose aesthetic might incorporate brightly colored hair and heavy blush. An e-girl. I believe that e-girl, the first e-girl I knew of was like Boxy, which is very, very old and very 4chan, etc. Musicians don't play here. Tacit. Music genre that becomes a visual style once words are swapped. Art person of color seems definitely wrong. Is it art pop art? It's not Michael Sarah. Michael not sure what. Nimble. Nimble. Deft. Able. Wiry, possibly. I'm not sure I like that at all. We'll see. Porter, but not Pilsner. I believe Pilsner's an ale, isn't it? Porter's an ale also. No, Porter's a porter. I don't know. I'll give the nod. Ooh, feeling bad about wiry now. We'll see. And so on and repeated. I mean, etc., blah, blah. Streaming live, on air. Maybe I should start talking that way, like we're doing old-timey radio. This is a Resorty Show, live on air, coming to you from Tokyo, across the sea. I do wonder if some streamers do treat their broadcast kind of radio-like. Now that said, of course, their visual is a big portion of Twitch, so probably they can't. Though I know some people do record podcasts live on Twitch. It's kind of cool to be able to see people's faces and bodies and gestures if you're into such things. Maybe. Tapped in. That can be subbed, possibly. I think subbed needs 2 B's. Opt against measuring out one's ingredients. You eyeball it instead. Sci-fi subgenre. I don't imagine a sustainable future. The word solar comes to mind. I have no idea what it is past that, though. Idiomatic spot for cherry on top. The player might have an ace up their sleeve rather. A card sharp. This is one of those phrases that is often misunderstood or splits in 2 directions. Card shark, S-H-A-R-K, came after card sharp. It's probably a case where people heard card sharp and connected it with the word that's more common, shark, because they're out there, eating and consuming the people who aren't cheating. Sharp came first. Fascinating language stuff. Make up some forests are probably I was gonna say elms. The down is what? I bet better from you. Tisk. So I saw makeup first with 4 letters. I thought coal, which is kind of blackening around the eyes. I don't know. A frick alternative, probably heck. Oh, kelp forest. Darn you video game. Alright, so inopportune to get a pimple picture day when you get your pictures for sure. And with that, I think we're going to be done with this one for right now, which means yet another one piles up. I guess a Pilsner is not an ale. I did not know that. And so on when repeated. Oh, yada yada yada. A la Seinfeld, very old. Give the nod. Say okay, as opposed to way okay. And so nimble is spry. Runway sight is a plank? Runway side, no, it can't be that. Captain is keyed in. A plane. Oh, that kind of... Remember earlier when I said that the... remember the phrase there? I said it's either plane or model. I then got totally stuck on it must be the model. And of course the plane, the first word I said all the way back when. Well, that's how it goes. A shark had the connotation of hustler or cheat from Dutch. Interesting, Jellius. So I'm wrong about the order of things. Yeah, I really thought that sharp came first and then card shark. I mean, that's it. That's exactly it. So shark had this connotation. It switched into that. That's cool. Language moves in fun ways. Because card sharp came for a card shark, but shark was in the language as a cheat or someone who takes advantage. Cool. Hello, Mike. You see FM24 soon. Oh, someone asked earlier, I didn't respond. Will you see me playing Football Manager 2024? The answer to this point has been no, because the Football Manager playthroughs are so lengthy to get anything done, and I'm relatively uninterested in playing it only 1 day a week. It can lead to a very awkward situation. Like, to be entirely honest with you, what it leads to is on non-Football Manager days, people come in and say, Resorty, why aren't you playing Football Manager? And I just get so tired of it. And so people get confused, and like a lot, like, it may actually not be the most common topic, but it feels like I then spend a large portion of subsequent streams saying, here's why we're not playing it. Back to it tomorrow, I swear. Or no, back to it next Thursday. And they'll say, Resorty, why do you do it 1 day a week? Football Manager is better than the game you're playing right now. And it's the kind of vibe that I find very stressful. So as of right now, I just play 1 game at a time, and that's definitely better for me. All right, so the clot here earlier is better than it was, but it still is a little bit clotty. And so I said earlier that one of the more important ideas I have had is to connect this end of the main drag to the highway as well. we do want to do that straight away. Now, I only have 2 panels to unlock, and so we can't quite get there. I don't know how diagonals work. I don't know if we have a tiny little path through the middle. I'm going to buy them. We're going to see, can I build the world's smallest road between these two? Like, honestly, just an alleyway will do it, and I can stack on the alleyway. Nope, you gotta have all 4 corners, unfortunately. So, next level up, we can grab both those. That'll be just fine. I'm gonna make myself a note here. This is the first time I've done this in this playthrough, but I love finding innovative ways to leave notes that are not using the not using the Steam notepad page y'all can't see. So build highway here, please. Good. Eventually. All right. I think I'm good. It's a Saturday. I tend to end stream about here on Saturdays. I want to say thank you for hanging out today. Card Sharp dates back to at least 1594. Man, I assume that Card Sharp, referring to a person who cheats at cards, would have come from, I don't know, like early mid 1800s. That's crazy though. Language is weird, MK. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for hanging out today. Like I said, I started in a pretty bad mood. I feel myself slipping a bit, which is why I'm wanting to say goodbye before I slip entirely. But don't you worry. I'll be back on Monday. Promise, thumbs up all the way. On Monday, we're doing some Crusader Kings 3, and we will come back to this game at some point. It's been absolutely lovely. I don't think I'll start a new playthrough, because I'm really enjoying the, having distinctive and interesting and different places across the map. So gone for one day. It'll be back on American Sunday evening, and then we'll do some Crusader Kings 3 when that happens. Should be good. It is sandwich time indeed. I'm gonna go upstairs and have myself a sandwich. We should probably find someone to raid host. So let me go to Big Resorty. I'm floating. I'm drowning. Blah 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 blah. Sorry. I glanced up and saw. What exactly was the picture of me drowning. I love it. So who is playing the Cities, the Skylines, the 2? Anybody we know? People have kind of moved on. There's Resorty. Hello, Resorty. And Nomac, who we did the other day. I want to find someone else new. Welcome, friends, to let's raid a smaller streamer. And I don't recognize anybody down here. I'm always looking for someone who has stopped our stream especially, but that's not happening this time. So who seems cool? Who seems like a nice person? I'm reading usernames currently, trying to find somebody who's like, this seems cool. This person's name is Defarious TV. They look a little older, maybe my age or so. Can't think what to do. In City Skylines. Maybe you can stop by there, offer some friendship and goodness, and Defarious TV. Maybe you can help them out with some ideas for their build. And hopefully they're cool. I'd like that a lot. So, Imperial Jedi, maybe Mr. Taco. I'm sorry, I wasn't reading any of this. I only had the one window open. So, rating Defarious. Hope they're nice. We'll see. I'm always concerned about fail raids. Today we may have a fail raid. The world never quite knows how it's going to go. Let me pull them up myself. And thanks for being here. Appreciate a whole bunch. Have a nice night and goodbye. Please don't hold me liable when this person swears at us. We'll see.